Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jenna Blackard.
And I'm Bianca Reina.
This is the Hustle Mystic Morning Show. Today, we're talking with Jewel Arns, and we are going to talk a little bit about manifestating. We're going to talk about uh, some really cool concepts on how DMT probably works that we have no idea and how we can activate it more. So,
Yeah,
this should be really fun and
yeah.
a very different conversation, especially around manifestation, in which case we were saying that it's kind of like the gateway drug to begin personal development. And then you get to the point that you're no longer in it just for yourself.
Yeah, very
Mhm.
interesting work. So I am wanting people to know all about our live dashboard. So before you do anything else, if you're listening in on the live stream, I'm sure all the people here on Zoom have this information, but just in case, make sure that you are signed up for our newsletters, and that's at howhustle.com/experience. And then from there, you are going to be introduced into our dashboard, which is howhustle.com/live. And on the dashboard, we have an invitation to our school. Jenna, tell them about our school.
You can find the school when you go over to that live page and then you see the big video. That doesn't mean you have to leave Zoom. You just go on your browser, go to that live page, and then it says join the community. It's completely for free. It's a place where we get to meet and greet everyone. It's also a place so that you can win prizes at the end of the week.
And what are we giving prizes for?
We're going to give you a VIP pass. We're going to give you a session with one of us, and we are going to give you a surprise that's probably in one of our digital products.
Yay! So the way in which you win prizes is by interacting and by writing in on the chat and on school. So we want to make sure that people are just really engaging, having fun with this summit, because the when you engage is when you actually take in information and learn and act upon it. So we really want this to be for you. This is a fun community. We do lots of fun stuff here,
Yeah.
and we're really excited to get started. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that we are looking for your whispers, and whispers actually equals clues. So whenever we're asking for people, hey, or we say a little something like, hey, that's a whisper, those are clues in which one speaker's information might match up with another speaker's, or it might be something that you saw. For example, Janet saw a couple of rainbows. I saw a cardinal before I saw the movie Disclosure Day. It was very fun. And those types of things help us know that maybe we're on path, there's something to listen up for. And because this community is all about uncovering some of this mystery, it is about what we contribute as our own signature resonance. So very exciting. Be sure to write your response in on the school and on chat if you haven't signed up for our school, but we'd love for you to participate over there.
Yes. And Leonka said it well. It's about remembrance of something that might take you forward to create something greater in your life, but it's also remembrance of some of this work. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we have that amnesia so strong that we forget. But if we've got a visual of a cardinal or a rainbow, we often will remember if there's further conversation. That's why we're having you play with the whispers to
Yeah.
get this in your bones.
All righty. Without further ado, let's bring up Tabitha.
Jules,
Tabitha's yesterday morning.
wow, you retrograded.
Right.
Jules, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Uh, we met when I was just starting this on my own before Leonka. And some of the things that we talked about just really blew my mind. You talk about the way the energy works, and especially through the body in a very different way. Do you want to start with a little bit of your background and your background with maybe some of your plant journeys, some of your DMT experiences, and how you really woke up?
Yeah, well, first, I was kind of born awake. I actually remember choosing my parents based on their DNA. And so that's one unique thing about me is that I knew I was awake. I knew I was here. And but what I didn't know is that everybody else didn't know as well. And so that was actually my first you could say, awakening was when I was in middle school, when I finally realized that not everybody else was knew the same things that I knew, or that people were actually conscious. And so it was difficult for me. It's a lot more difficult than you would think, especially being that young, and then all of a sudden you're in this foreign universe. And as I got a little bit older, I turned to drugs and alcohol as a way to kind of be where everybody else
Yeah.
was. But
Mhm.
that's also when I discovered psychedelics, and they became one of my favorite things to do, because it was the ability to actually master my own consciousness. And so what I would do is I would take LSD, and I would put myself in situations where I would have to master the trip, is what I would say, in order to be in situations. So I would take it and go to school, for example. And so I would have to bring my consciousness to the top of the trip to where I could function just like everybody else. And I got really, really good at it.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I started my apprenticeship with a Lakota medicine woman, and she said, okay, no more psychedelics. I'm going to teach you how to hold consciousness in that same frequency without the drugs. And so that
Ooh.
kind of started my journey with mastering how to achieve certain states of consciousness naturally, which of course is what we all are really seeking when we do psychedelics.
Yeah. By different states of consciousness, do you want to explain that? I know a lot of people talk about brainwave states, but you're
Yeah.
kind of, it's a little bit different than that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So I base a lot of my work on having the awareness of what state of consciousness that you're in. So I'll just go through them really quickly, and then we can actually do a fun little exercise so that you can have the experience
Oh,
of
that'd be
what the
great.
things are. So the first one, of course, we all know this one, and that is just being unconscious. And yeah, we also, of course, when we're unconscious, we may not be aware of it. But one way that we can identify if we are there is what our body feels like. And so when our body is in a state of contraction, then most likely we have some unconscious behaviors going on, or unconscious thoughts. But we also can identify in other people, because they're the people that you're always walking on eggshells with, because they're just unconscious. And then we have the second level of consciousness, which is when we wake up. And that's normally when we have some sort of a chemical release in the body, because when we wake up, we get excited because we have information that we didn't have before. Or we could also maybe feel not so excited because we weren't really fully ready to have the information revealed, but it's what our body feels like. So when we have that first burst of dopamine, if we're excited about something that we now have the choice to create a different life, and we kind of ride that chemical of the body and we get really excited about the change, or the opposite could happen, of course. We all know that level of consciousness. And then we move into the third level of consciousness, and that's when the chemical starts to run out and we move into trying. So it's when we're aware that we're wanting to create a change, and we go to trying to make it happen. We're forcing something to happen. And that's also where the body starts to loop in those neural pathways that just continue to fire. And it's hard to create change when the body is keeping you running in a program.
Mhm.
So then we move into the fourth level of consciousness. And this is the level of consciousness I call the listen and do. And in this state is that when we learn to put consciousness in an abstract frequency or in an unknown space, and we're receiving guidance from outside of our programming. A lot of us have had those experiences. We get the downloads, but it's also one of the levels of consciousness that we really need to have practice in holding our consciousness there, not just when we're waiting for guidance, but all the time, because it is a state of consciousness that we can all live in all the time. And then
Fabulous.
with that practice, we move into the fifth level of consciousness. And this is where we're like all evolving to. And that's the state where that intelligence that is giving us the guidance to begin with, that our consciousness is picking up on in the fourth level of consciousness, actually becomes our innate state of being. So there's no gap between consciousness receiving the information and the intelligence that is bringing in the information. We just become that intelligence. And a lot of us have had those experiences in what we call flow state, or moments where we just completely go unconscious. But when we come to, we're like, oh my gosh, I just killed that, right? Like I did it to the max.
Nice.
That would be
Yeah,
that. Hmm. And did you guys want to do the exercise?
Yes.
absolutely.
Now
Yes.
we're just give
This
a
is one of
second.
my favorites to do. And I feel like this is one you can do over and over, and it's still just amazing. Okay, so I'll have everybody shut their eyes.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you imagine a sunflower.
Mm.
Okay, and so as you're imagining the sunflower, you're going to just notice what it feels like in your mind to hold the image, and what it feels like in your body, like how much energy it's taking to hold the image of the sunflower. And just whatever the experience is, just noticing and paying attention. Okay, and then open your eyes, and you're going to shake it out. Okay, now shut your eyes again. And through the pineal gland, we're going to activate the 12-strand DNA system that's going to release the frequency of source. And now you're going to ask, show me a sunflower. And you're going to let that frequency release from your pineal gland. It starts to activate every cell of the body. And you're just going to stay in a state of allowing, having the experience, and then just noticing what your body feels like and how your consciousness is being used. And then just as you're ready, when it feels right, you can open your eyes. It's pretty instant to notice the difference between trying and then just allowing the intelligence to work through consciousness or inform consciousness. So one consciousness was creating an experience, and then the second one, the intelligence of source, was informing consciousness of an experience.
Yes. So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So one comes from you operating as an infinite being and working with your bigger, higher, people like to say higher self, I say self, right? So one is that way. One is actually us manufacturing it as a smaller, independent being. Is that how we should perceive this?
Well, I would say in my words is one, it would be the third level of consciousness and down. So
Hmm.
you're to
Yes.
imagine something, and you're doing it from that place of you're pulling an image from your programming or
Yep.
from
Okay.
an experience of the
Like
past, or
seeing it in real life
Right. Right. Right.
yeah,
Right. Okay.
in the
or
previous
even if you're
brand.
imagining and projecting, it's being projected through what's already been created. So
Hmm.
you've either heard it, maybe you saw it and you didn't know you saw it, but you're pulling it from what I call the matrix, right? Or
Yes.
and simulated reality. The second one is you're tapping into this, what I call the intelligence of source, that is stored
Hmm.
in your DNA. It's a mapping system, and it has information of everything, but it also has the information in the purest frequency there is, source. So when you ask to have the experience from there, that frequency activates through the pineal gland. It starts to run through your neural pathways. It fires off a frequency, but it also is activating every cell of your body. So your body becomes the answer. And then your consciousness is in a space where it's receiving the information or it's being informed, not through the programming. but through the purest information that there is. And that's, if we get really good at it, we can start to, just like that fourth level of consciousness, we can start to receive information outside of our programming. And it's the fastest way to manifest.
And it's the fastest way to drop the veils so that we can communicate
Oh, great point.
with all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And know the difference between the veils of who has such and such conclusionary point of view and what actually is universally true to you, I guess. So,
And I love that you said that, because I feel like that's where we start to trust in what our body feels like. Because a lot of times when we hear information, we go to our mind and we try to compare it to what we've heard before, what we know, what we don't know. Is this true for me? Is it not true for me? And we start to loop, because how do you know what's true and what's not? But when we actually go into the body and we know what our body is saying yes to, which would be a universal truth, and what it's contracting to, which is that we know that there's distortion. And it doesn't mean that there's not any truth in it. It just means that the body hasn't hit the absolute truth. And that's what I call a divine yes. And
yeah.
when we start following only the divine yeses, is when a lot of the distortion starts to fall away.
We're giggling back here because that's a whisper from yesterday. She used the word divine right,
Mm,
and you used the word divine yes. Somebody go put that over on the community
Yeah, that's pretty good.
as a whisper. And
Does
I
divine yes work better for you?
it does.
Yeah,
It
right?
seems energetically
Yeah,
more
it was the
light
word.
with the
So,
word right.
yeah.
Yeah. I bet we kind of had this little semantic battle. We won't do it again today because I do like divine yes. Whereas when she was saying it's your divine right, it was just like all kind of superior and I kind of contracted around it because I felt like it was just, and it's a semantic difference.
yeah.
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 Well,
But we
let's talk
believe
about our
words are,
divine yes.
I was gonna say, we believe words are codes, and so if it's, and this is just a note for everybody else, is like if the codes aren't working for you, change it up, right? Do something that works for you. Use the wording that works for you, that has the energy behind it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
because that is the energy behind it. Well, I let's talk about your divine yes. How do we get to this divine yes more of the time so that we're working with our big self?
Oh my gosh, this is, what I will say is that there's going to be a lot less divine yeses than there's going to be divine nos.
Hmm.
And once we know that, but what's really exciting about that is that when we really learn what that feels like and we keep only saying yes, not to a divine maybe, it's we wait for the absolute yes, is the pathway becomes very, very clean and very, very pure. And it becomes mission based, right? And not mission as in, this is my mission. It's this mission becomes the dedication to in the discipline to waiting for the divine yes. But I will say for me, I know what it feels like to say yes to something that's not a divine yes, and I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's the truth makes you feel lighter, a lie makes you feel heavier.
exactly. And then you have to just go through all the distortion to get back to the yes that it was initially trying to bring you to.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do people use that? So that we can bring it into a little bit more pragmatic, how do people use the divine yes in order to, I mean, it seems like it could be like second nature, but it's not all the time, right?
Uh,
Like sometimes I know that I've said yes to the divine maybe, and then I find myself off course. I just wanted you to elaborate on that a little bit more so that people can really fall into, okay, what does that really look like for people? And why do we want to wait with earnestness the divine yes?
Yeah, well, I would say the first thing is always recognizing, first of all, like those five levels of consciousness are so important. So if you're in the third level of consciousness and down, like how will you know if you're there? Well, your body is going to be contracted. You're going to feel emotional, like a chemical emotion. You never want to say yes in a chemical emotion. I mean, that's what how marketing has been in the past, right? That's because they know how to feed into the subconscious and the primal body in order for it to react. So if people are saying, buy this now or it's going to run out, you know, okay, this isn't for me right now. And then just not making unconscious decisions, which is a given. So what does it feel like to have a divine yes? Well, it's not emotional. That would be your first indicator is like,
Mm,
am I making a decision based on emotion? And if I am, I need to wait
Mm.
because a divine yes is actually very still and it's precise and it has a sense of expansion, not on a chemical level, but on a feeling level. So I always say the difference between the chemical body or the programmed body and what I would call like the divine body or what the higher operating system. I also call it the divine molecular technology because it becomes very specific. That feels different. And the difference would be, I don't know if you guys know the difference between like a Hertz wave and a scalar wave.
Yeah.
But like a Hertz wave, you strum the guitar, right? And then you can feel it if you're sitting right there and you're like, ooh, that sounds so good. And then it goes away. And then when it goes away, the feeling goes away too, right? You're not like holding that. Maybe you would feel the vibration in your body for a couple hours afterwards, but eventually it goes away. That's the way that our programmed body is experiencing life. And that's why we're always trying to find the next thing to release the chemicals so that we can feel excited and joy and or love. And we go chasing after a feeling.
Mm.
Well, when we're doing that, we're saying yes to our programming. We're
Wow.
creating a life of programming. But when we move over into the divine body, everything becomes what I call a scalar wave. And a scalar wave doesn't diminish over time and space. So if you wanted to feel, you can actually do this. I'll let you guys play in it. But next time you're wanting to feel something, let's say love, for example, go in and activate the frequency of love. And just like the sunflower, let your that pineal gland activate that frequency. And even as I'm saying it, I can feel it activating in my
Yeah.
body. And all of a sudden, your body will turn on that frequency of love.
mm,
Mhm.
And it doesn't diminish in time and space. What does diminish is whether or not your consciousness is in that state where it's being informed by that frequency. So when we're saying yes to the divine, it feels more like the sunflower in the second exercise. It feels still,
Yeah,
it
just
feels like pure. Right, and expansive. That
mhm.
is because it is like expanding out of your body. And what's interesting is that on a particle level, when we say yes to those frequencies, it's that frequency of that guidance is, let's say, releasing. And then our consciousness kind of picks up on it. And then maybe at first it'll feel like, oh, I think I would like to have this experience because source is releasing that frequency through you, you're hitting it, and then you're like, oh, well, that was such an interesting thing to come in. And is this right for me? And then it almost gets a little bit stronger. Well, because you let your consciousness pick up on the divine guidance and you start to follow it, that frequency starts to alter particles of reality. And then all of a sudden, the divine is actually opening up a path and creating a reality, not because you're trying to, but because it was divinely guided from the very beginning.
Like, it's almost as if the divine guidance was already asking for it.
and in
Exactly.
some ways it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which actually goes into, I guess, asking a question about asking,
Mhm.
right? Because when you were consciousness, give me this experience of the sunflower, that's an ask.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
is most of this based just on that ask, that request, so to speak?
it is. And that's where I feel like that's why intention in the beginning can be one of the accelerated pathways to ascension because it's teaching us how to use consciousness correctly, because
Mm,
we were taught to use consciousness as
Yes.
an identity, and
Yes.
or to use it
Wow.
to create with. But the opposite is actually true. Consciousness is there so that we are can have the first awareness of, oh, I when I'm stating this intention, I am aware that I'm stating it from the third level of consciousness and down. And that's okay, because I'm going to use that intention to move to the fourth and fifth.
I love
And
that.
so I may have that intention. And then everything that happens after that is the practice of holding consciousness in the fourth and fifth.
Well, let's talk about the practice because I feel like we've gotten the experience and almost anybody can do a request like this. Let's move on. And
Yeah.
this is like candy to
I
me.
know it's super
Yeah.
empowering is what I find it is.
Yeah. Because I mean, so let's just take you back in what we've talked about. We've talked about this word avatar embodiment
Mm.
and that we are these avatars that have this conscious embodiment and we, our big self speaks through this avatar in each moment. Is that how you see this? In
Yeah. I mean, I just feeling into my body, and when it comes to,
Mm,
just the words, and uh I guess I would say how I see the self is that we all have a mapping system inside of our DNA. Most of us are experiencing two of 12 strands.
Wow.
oh,
Right? And
wow.
that's the distortion. And that
Right.
is the place where we're not, it's like, oh, well, are we this? Are we this? Is it this? It's
Mm,
this. Because we're only experiencing two of 12 of what we actually are. And that's what we're here to evolve. I mean, that it's going to happen
that
eventually
is,
anyway, because
yeah.
it's basic human evolution that we're going to shift, and it's already happening. I think we're all experiencing it right now. Our 12 strand DNA system
Yeah.
is starting to turn on, and that's who we are. That's our innate being. And so we already are that. It's just our consciousness doesn't know that we are. And because our consciousness is what we're so identified in. So going back to that place is like, well, am I identified in my high self? Am I identified in
Yeah.
this avatar self? Or am I neither? And am I just going to let this frequency of my 12 strand DNA system show me what I am?
Ooh.
And then I
Yes.
don't have to figure out anything, because
Yeah.
the most intelligent thing is
It's
going to show me.
ooh, juicy.
Yeah.
How do you foresee the 12 strand activation unfolding for us? Or what glimpses have you seen for humanity as we enter into this new?
Well, the first thing is that we ask, right? Just like the intention
Yeah.
like, what if my intention is I want to experience the full aspects of self, and I'm choosing to through my DNA, because the frequency of source is encoded in our DNA. I mean, now they've even scientifically proven that, which is really exciting. And so with that, after that, it's like you follow it, right? And so a big part of my work is going through the mapping system. What's really interesting is that there are actually 12 avatars through each of the technology. So when we start to activate the higher stranded DNA, and we use consciousness in the correct way, meaning that we're not trying to make it happen, we're staying in that place of allowing it to be informed, we start to recognize that inside of each strand of DNA, there's information. Well, it was left there for our awakening process, and it's not accessed by trying to go in and read it. It's accessed by activating it and letting it run through consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those experiences are going to be things that we already know and are truth. Like, I mean, like those little hits of like, oh, why can't I manifest instantly? Why can't I heal instantly? Like, I know I'm supposed to be having this experience. Why am I not? And that's because our innate being is to have that experience. And so when we're not having it, it's just because we're only experiencing two of 12. So I don't know if I answered your
I,
question.
No,
I feel,
it was
I,
kind of a vague question anyway, because I just was curious into how you foresee some of this unfolding, right? So and I felt like you had a better glimpse on that. So I was just curious. Go ahead.
I'm a little confused by how you responded because, I mean, the field is all information, to be
Mhm.
honest, like infinite information. So
But our DNA has
let's
holds lots of information, like endless amounts of information. In fact, when they put information, they can actually write onto our DNA, and that's only a fraction of what it truly can hold.
Yeah,
And that includes all of the encyclopedia, anything and everything all over,
yeah,
everything that AI can hold right now, can be written onto one little piece of our
of our
DNA.
DNA.
So,
But
um,
they speak of the universe being inside of us.
yeah,
Isn't that the 12th
yeah,
strand? Is that it being inside of us as the informative frequency?
yeah. I think
Or
that's the
does that make
biggest.
sense?
No, it totally does. And I think that's the biggest shift that's actually trying to happen on
Hmm.
a conscious level is that right now, consciousness wants to observe everything and it wants to name what it observes.
Yes.
And so for us to say, oh, the universe is outside of ourselves, or oh, I'm going to go out and read the universal field, then we're doing exactly what's keeping us stuck in the
in the
matrix.
program, yes,
Keep this
Yes.
yes.
program.
Yeah. Well, or the belief system of this reality. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're
Let's,
moving to a place where our consciousness is being informed by the most intelligent thing there is, and that source that's stored in our DNA. So when we stop trying to read the field and we allow this intelligence to
inform
inform
us.
us,
Mhm.
everything changes.
Because by
Which,
because by definition or by trying to define it, then we have already created a new form of separation.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
there is something to say
Landed in
about.
a really deep way in me.
I feel
Sorry.
like it's important to know that it doesn't mean that we don't use identity. It's just that we're
Mhm.
using it as a scaling level. Because
Mm.
right now, because there is something about allowing an embodiment of the information that's being given to us through the intelligence of our DNA. And so when our consciousness hits something and it's like, oh, I received this information, and at first, it feels a little abstract because it hasn't fully, it's so, I mean, some of the information that comes in is so high level. For example, I know how to heal myself instantly. Well, at first, that information may come in and it's kind of like downloading into your cells, right? Because your cells are going to start to shift from a density to crystalline. I mean, we're actually going through an energetic shift, even on biology level. And that it's like consciousness is like, okay, I got that, but I don't get it. And so you wait for it to fully attune, and then your consciousness hits it and it becomes real. You identify in it, but then you have to let it go and then let the next one come through. And that's
Okay.
part of the
Wow.
ascension process, that it's okay to use the identity. It's just that we don't want to lock up in it.
Yes.
Yes. Well, and identity alone would be separation.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And as long as we know that and that we're using an identity for a certain amount of time until it's actualized and then we let it go and move on, we can actually use it. It's just where are we using it from? Are we using it from a place of identity as separation or identity as ascension?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dana says the human wants instant gratification. It can, and I'll rephrase this, but it can be challenging to let go and allow. But it is necessary. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, I get
Yeah.
that totally. Because I want to know, like, I want to know, I want to know, I want to, right? So I'm
Yeah.
sometimes quick to want to identify, or what is this? And
Right.
this is where we solidify things. And you're
Yep.
saying to allow it, and then even keep the allowance and allow even more for the download to continue. I
Yes.
love that. I
With
think that is where we get tripped up pretty often. Is that what you're seeing in your work as well?
Yeah, I would say, a lot of times when we get those download, the first hit of a download, we're like, oh, that's what it is. And then we
Yeah, yeah.
calling a friend,
yep.
I'm like, oh, I got this download. And
Yeah.
like
Well,
what we're not realizing is that was just the first part of it that got your attention and and
Ah,
it started hitting consciousness. But in that moment, if we're like, oh, thank you, and then we just keep letting the sunflower
yes.
expand and expand and expand and expand. Then we're like, oh my gosh, thank God I kept going because there was just so much more to it. And it'll take you, if you really do this the next time you get a download, it'll take you, if you stay with it, it'll take you to the edge of where you almost lose grasp of consciousness altogether.
Okay.
And right when you start to get
Mhm.
there is when you can start to self-actualize and look at all of, because otherwise you would have
Yeah.
to get here, to get here, to get here. It goes so much faster if you let it
Okay.
fully integrate.
So it's like request, 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 request.
Or just, I'm gonna just keep it's this is where learning to hold consciousness in an abstract frequency is so important
Mhm.
because most of us want to immediately start to identify.
Yeah.
And so we have to stay in that attuning space where I like to describe it. I know this is such a weird way of describing it, but I think it's really fun. So you kind of, if this was your consciousness in this experience, let's say, but you know how when somebody will be like, oh, did you hear that? And you're like, no, I didn't hear anything. And they're like, no, no, did you hear that? And you have to like go into your body and go really quiet. So it's like on, and
Mm.
not just hearing it with your ears anymore, you're hearing it with your entire body, your
Yeah.
senses. That's what you're doing with your consciousness when you're receiving information, is that you're just staying still and waiting for the information to come in.
Ooh.
Well, we can be in that state of consciousness all the time. And people are like, well, how can I function in that state of consciousness? And the truth is, that is more innately who we are. And we can
Wow.
function at a much higher level when we're there because there's no interference.
Do you think our ancestors did a lot better job of this? Or is there anything that you found that humanity has even, been able to do this in that way?
Mm.
Yeah, that's such a great question. I feel like now we have a lot more distractions, and
Yeah,
so it probably feels that way.
sure.
But the truth is, this is just it's this information is it's who we are. Like this
Right.
experience is who we are, and there's going to be those that l- live their lives with less distraction, and this kind of innate intelligence is going to override consciousness a lot faster than those that have a life of a lot of distraction.
Yeah. Let's talk about manifesting for just a moment here from this space of being.
Yeah.
Uh, so can we do a real like pragmatic real world example?
Mhm.
Because I feel that in running a business or what have you, I'm often like, to grow faster, we need to get ads, we need to get, bigger speaker, I have all these conclusions, right? Like there's lands of conclusions and what could do. And
Mhm.
yet internally, I know and I hold this space of it's growing and it will keep growing. And, and I trust it and I really trust it because I grew a business that was, relatively large, similar to this. So I really trust this energy. But now I still have to go, well, these conclusions about this, what do I do? Like, where do we, how do we play with that when we're playing in this manifesting space of being?
Yes. Well, I would
Yeah.
say the first rule as a business owner, but also just as a life creator, is that the CEO is always the divine. So all
Mhm.
decisions go through that first.
So
And
it's really, we ask even the question, what needs to be out there for other
Yes.
people to receive
The
it from
CEO is
us.
the divine.
yes, it
Yeah,
always
like that.
I gotcha.
it's just like you would, and
Mm.
if like, I don't see myself as the CEO of my business, the divine
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
Right? And so
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I'm like listening for that guidance over anything else, or hey, what about this or this? We'll go in, which one feels more expansive? Let the divine activate the frequency, then boom, you know which pathway to go. But as far as manifestation, I mean, really what manifestation is we all are in we're creator beings.
No
Like
matter, yeah, no
divine
matter
is
what, we are creating.
using us to create. And how clean that's going to be is how pure our consciousness is connected to that intelligence. That's what I call a divine intelligence, or the part that's like dictating our consciousness and that guidance. And it's not maybe easy to live your life only on the divine yeses, because we want to say yes to a lot of different things because our chemical body wants to have the chemical rushes of different
Hmm.
things, right?
Yes.
So when we allow ourselves to be more still and just go that way, but what ends up happening is that everything in life is in that frequency. And so I call it kind of just being, I don't want to say it's on the other side, but really you are, because you're either in the matrix having this experience of what's my next rush can be. Is this going to work? Is this going to work? The hustle.
Yeah.
You're,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hustle.
or do
But
you go, boom, all right, I'm only going to say yes to what's mine. But then it becomes the divine treasure hunt,
Yeah.
right? It's just like everything is like you're either in the creator, like you're doing the creating, or you're in the stillness waiting for the next breadcrumb. But in the whole truth of it, as a manifester, you're either the creation itself or you're the one that's creating it. It's the part of you that wants to step out of it and look at what's being created that actually creates the distortion. So manifestation is a mastery of consciousness and knowing what level of consciousness you're in, what your divine yes feels like,
Yeah.
right? And then also having the tools of what to do when you get sucked into the programming, because that's really important, is that you know what to do with your consciousness when it's not in the fourth or fifth. And one of the biggest rules is do nothing. Do
mhm.
nothing until you move back up into the fourth, or everything that you do and think is just going to create neural pathways of more programming. And so
Yeah.
it's just better to go take a shower, go for a walk, or just sit there and name everything that you're thinking. It's like, I know I'm in the rabbit hole. I know that I am trying to do something because I'm afraid. And you just start naming it and
That is
it'll,
what we call the old school hustle,
Yeah.
oh
right? That's
my
the
God.
Yeah.
old soul like grind, whereas we really view it as flow and a dance
I
and
love that.
communication
Yeah.
with divine.
Mhm.
Um,
So yeah.
so at Whisper Everybody, we've heard Karen Tobias and tell us go take a nap. She said, and then Jules told us to go take a shower
Do some breath
because
work.
Self-love.
because then you're right. We would be just operating and re-establishing the matrix if we're just doing the grind, right?
Yeah, like triggers or frustration, emotional distraught.
And not even that, it would just you wouldn't have the same results.
No.
Like if I was sending emails or something like that and doing invitations and from a place of just a lower consciousness, they're not going to land with people. It's not going to be received. That work will be just busyness.
Mhm.
And so then that's where you get to a place of burnout
Yeah.
instead of true flow, instead of letting the divine be the leader. I know that you wanted to, we want to be able to showcase your work, and I know we're getting a little bit closer on time. What is the best way for us to be able to do that too?
Yeah, so gosh, I mean, I have my YouTube channel, but honestly, it's just come join the community. I do have a community that it's a great way to connect with other people on the path, and I have a membership that you can get your first free month for free. And next month is we're starting our summer series, and we're going to be doing it on the frequency of contact. So it's how to hold your consciousness in the purest space to communicate multidimensionally,
Yeah,
Oh,
which will
cool.
be a lot of fun. Just kind of
yeah,
there is going to be a lot more disclosures and a lot more contact with interstellar beings. And
yeah.
there's a really pure and exciting way that we can start doing that right now. So we're going to do the summer series on that.
Exciting.
Very cool. Yeah, we talk a lot about Dr. Stephen Greer and how he really has this sense that for us to see UFOs, we need to be more in that multidimensional state. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
they're all around us. You're just not in the right state to actually perceive it.
Yes, I do agree with that. But also, we are, this sounds kind of weird to think about this, but we're interstellar beings to other other star
Yeah.
beams,
Yes.
right? It's like
Yes.
we are
Yeah.
just the same.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
the star seeds, right? So
So there are others that are trying to connect with us as well. So yeah.
absolutely.
So being that resonance and then knowing that it comes from the highest good as well.
Do you
Yeah.
have other exercises to remind us or for us to practice some of these tools so that we can keep operating from this greater space?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have a whole well, my foundations classes, the whole thing is teaching all the different ways of holding consciousness in the abstract because
Mhm.
learning that it is really the foundation of human evolution is shifting consciousness from identity to really just being a tool. And one way I like to show that is that your consciousness is actually a tool. It's not who you are. It's the part of you that's aware that you are a being. And so if it's just knowing which is using my tool of consciousness, is it the matrix or my programming or is it the divine? And that awareness is everything. Because if you're
Yeah.
even aware of what's using your consciousness, you can't create a change. And once you're aware that, okay, I was in the place where my programming is, well, what do you do? I'll give you one of the very first things that you can do. This one's really, really fun. And so it's activating what I call the first element. So the first element, I'll say the first two. So what you do is you can simply just go into your pineal gland and say, I activate the first and second element. And you're going to see kind of a blue and a purple light start to run through your neural pathways. And this is connecting your neural pathways to the frequency of source. And you can just say, I ask to absorb the first and second element. And the
Mhm.
first element is I'm not my mind. The second one is I'm not my thoughts. And then
Nice.
starting to feel it reactivate your neural pathways. And you can even say in that moment, it's like, I ask that the divine rewire my neural pathways to receive the clearest guidance. And maybe you do it for 2 minutes, but by the end of it, you're going to feel different. And the more that you use that tool, the more you're asking the divine to rewire your neural pathways. And what ends up happening is like every time you do that, your pineal gland actually starts to expand just a little bit because our pineal gland is actually holding the next level of like our physical brain on a physical level.
Wow. I can feel that working.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like
Yeah, it's
you could see it, and the whole call shifted just a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And I can imagine, 2 minutes is a long time, just
Yes.
doing that for 20 seconds. I already feel a shift for 2 minutes. You really, you then fall into it and instead doesn't become I'm holding any space at all. Even when you say the words. So I think that's really fascinating as well. What, what do you find is the biggest misconception with maybe the work or, that people are having when you are explaining this to someone?
it's we're going into a new paradigm of evolution. And the old paradigm was it has to be hard. I have to go into my trauma. I have to do all this stuff. And what's interesting to me is that we've already scientifically proven that that's not true. And it's
Yes.
that what we focus on becomes our reality. And then there's like, yeah, but then I'm spiritual bypassing. And it's like, well, no, you're not, because every time that a program comes up, you're not denying it's there. You're saying, I see you, thank you. Shift me into what it is to be beyond this programming. Show me what that is. And then you activate the second sunflower. Your consciousness starts to be informed through the innate being of who you actually are. But if we keep identifying in the trauma and we think that we have to keep going through all that, we're just reinforming all of that. And I think that's the biggest change that we're starting to see more of. I've been trying to
Nice.
tell people this for like the last 10 years, and I feel like people are finally starting to
Yay.
get
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that actually does work. And I'm like, yeah, and it works so much faster and it's so much more fun. And it brings us into the mystery of who we are. And that's where the divine treasure hunt really starts to happen. It doesn't mean that we're never going to feel bad again. It just means that when we do feel bad, we just know that we're in the programming and that there's somewhere else to go. And that's our innate state of being. And that's
Yes.
all it has to be.
Girl, I can see everybody changing the world in this way.
Yeah.
Because when you allow that expansion of the sunflower, then we allow the undefinition or undefining of what the collective has put in place, right? Because the sunflower could be anything, right? It could be outside of the word sunflower, and then it just goes into the whatever. And so then this collective, structures that we've put in place, that we've had in place for eons, then it starts to dissolve. Imagine if everybody started to just start operating from this way, then all of these structures, the banking, I mean, the way in which we've been doing stuff forever starts to become a place of expansion. And this is a place where we can definitely change the world. Boy.
Wow.
Mic drop.
That was well said,
Well,
Leonka.
and I got this vision of her showing us this, and
Yeah.
then I was like, and us using it, and I just like, wow, like this is so undefined. I love it. I love
Yes.
that place.
And I mean, and if you really ask what feels lighter, what is that? Yes.
Yeah.
That undefined space is where we start to come alive.
Yeah.
And we're like, bring on more speakers that talk in this spacious, undefined way, this open with, question, choice,
And bringing
and
Jules back.
whispers. Yes,
That
absolutely. Let's
right.
talk about your program because I know that it's right on the same line of what we're talking about. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. It's funny. Yesterday, uh, what was it? Elizabeth said, I don't like the word manifesting. And we went in this little battle around it. So I love that it's actually called manifesting.
Yeah, I
Uh,
feel like manifesting, it really is our pathway of ascension because it's learning to create as source versus through a programmed reality. And it is a innate state of being. So, yes, this is, so I love this because it is, it's not hard, right? It's doing micro movements through the intelligence of source or through the frequency of your DNA. And another way of saying that is 963. So 963 hertz is the coding system that you'll move through as you go through the course. And there are actual little symbols that activate the DNA. And 963, ironically, is the frequency of DMT, the chemical that's released from
Oh
your
wow.
pineal gland, is also the frequency that they can measure within this dimension that they would measure as source. Of course, where we're going and when we're fully activated, we will not be measurable. I think it's important to know that because
Yeah.
we will be beyond measurement. But yeah, so you kind of just walk through with an intention, and it teaches you how to walk through in that fourth and fifth level of consciousness and have the experience of what it is to manifest outside of the matrix.
wow.
It's beautiful work. I mean, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, one of our summit enhancers is to get frequencies, what we call frequencies, which is various hertz frequencies. And yeah,
Janet, this is
it's
something
like
that you and I have
really,
been asking for
yeah,
because she and I don't necessarily want to do the um it's the drugs. It's the
DMT.
psycho, yeah.
Yeah,
This like
ashwagandha
yeah, we don't
is the
necessarily
word.
want to do the psychedelics is what I'm trying to say in order to activate, but we know that there's another way in which we've always innately know that there's another way in which to activate the DMT on a regular. And I think this is really what this really brings us to is that you having so much experience here and then now really being a way shower for this. And I applaud you for being that way shower. So thank you for sharing this wonderful package with us as well.
Do you want to briefly go through this package? I actually think I have her product here that I might just want to show off and just get up and grab while she does.
Okay, go ahead.
Uh, do you want to talk about each things within the module and how long
We've got a
it
little
is?
bit
That'd
of
be
time.
great.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first, so in my work, when I say DMT, it is saying divine molecular technology, and
Hmm.
the divine molecular technology. I also use something that's called the evolution scalar technology, and you'll learn all about this in the course. But there's three symbols of the evolution technology. And those symbols were actually given to me back when I was 5 years old through what I call
Wow.
the blue beings. And the blue beings are the divine architects of the DNA. They're now called the Astroluma, and they would do particle shifts by activating technologies of the DNA. So there are 12 technologies codes that activate the technologies. So as you go through the course, you're going to activate the codes of your 12-strand DNA system, and you're going to start to have the experience of what it feels like to have those frequencies activate and what it feels like as it moves through your consciousness. So each week you're kind of going, or each module you're going through, you're having an activation series, and it kind of says each one of those has an avatar. So it's taking you through the mapping system that when that's unlocked, it really opens up your consciousness to kind of everything that we've been talking about. Because that's the biggest thing that people have trouble with is, okay, I have the understanding of this, but I just don't know how to do it. And when we start to work in the higher operating system, what we have to remember is that your consciousness is not going to be the one that does it. So you're not going to understand first. You're going to experience first. And
Okay.
then consciousness is going to figure out what the experience was. Because if consciousness is actually the one that's dictating it, it's going to be doing it through distortion. That's
Mm.
why we allow the frequency of the 12-strand DNA continue to open up and move through consciousness. And then consciousness will have the kind of the experience of it, but it's still not going to fully understand what's
Get
happening
you.
until it fully happens. And then you're like, how did I even get here? How did that happen? I asked for this to happen and it just happened. And it's because it was happening all along, but it was happening without you knowing because it's being operated outside of this dimension. You can't see it happening because it's happening on a particle level. And then once the particles like you're focusing long enough, the particles
Sure.
solidify, and then all of a sudden you just arrive and you're like, what? I didn't even do anything. Well, you did. It's like you let it happen. And that's really what it started. Like, we're going to learn how to manifest that way because we're so focused on linear time and we're so focused on outcome that we create all of these distortions. But if you're going from this frequency to this frequency, and you're consistently activating the frequency through your higher operating system here, but your consciousness only understands what's here, right? But because you're activating it through the DNA, those frequencies are running through your consciousness, and you're going to have little hits and understandings, and it's going to feel like a little treasure hunt. But the whole time, it was just like bringing you into a reality that was already there all along.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I brought out your little scalar pro 3 3
Oh,
had
I didn't know which one you had. So you have
yeah,
the 33. Okay,
yeah.
beautiful.
I like the bottle so much that it's like only has like a couple drops left at the
You can
very
just
end.
add a little bit more water and the
Uh-huh.
water will take on the frequency of it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm glad I
Ormus,
left a
that we
little.
could have a whole conversation on just Ormus.
Well, I think we probably should at a time because when I do take it, I do notice a shift.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and I had kind of forgot about it until you started talking about scalar. And I
Ah,
was like, okay, yeah, maybe it's time for me to re-experience that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, wow. I'm just kind of like all giddy and everything over here
Well, because
because
it's
it's
super
just
empowering.
and it's just so light,
Yeah,
for the lack
it
of a
is.
better
It
word.
is.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
I feel
really
joy
aligned.
around it. It feels
Yep.
like this is, you know,
Like this is the way.
yeah. Ay, ay,
The force is with you.
ay.
Ormus with you. You are the forest girl. You are.
Love it, love it.
We are one.
And all about oneness. So, we don't want to take up too much more of your time, but it's been absolutely a joy having you. And I have so much more awareness, and I cannot
Mhm.
wait to learn more about the work and to really dive in because I do feel like this is the way.
Yeah.
Like, this is, I mean, it
This is
really
the
is
way.
feel like there's something opened up
Yoda.
here. And that there is some space that people can really start to not have so much of a trip up with the way in which we're taught manifestation from the get-go, right? That
Yeah.
this is the piece that maybe we were kind of just maybe just right on the cusp of, or just swiping and not understanding why that was the case. So I'm really excited to learn more about the work.
I would also tell everyone to re-listen to this one
Yeah.
because I feel that, even at the level that I have been at working this for 20 years, there's still things I feel like you said that my brain kind of like went away. It's like almost trying to avoid you for a second.
Yeah.
And I really feel like it's important for us to be with those moments where we are trying to run or go away, because I know that's usually the time that we need to hear something.
Yes. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can even describe what actually happens in those moments is that when something is said that is beyond what the programmed mind can understand, it will want to resist it. But in those moments, that's when we can actually move into that abstract frequency or the second sunflower, and we can receive the information because it is true. And also, just going back to that place of speaking through frequency, too,
Mhm.
right? Is that there's a part of your body that received every single part of this
Yeah.
conversation. And so when you go back and listen to it again, your consciousness will have an easier state of understanding. You're like, oh my gosh, well, why did I want to resist that before? Now I totally get it. And that's
Mhm.
that place of self-actualization within the frequency. And so it is a really empowering thing to do. So thank you
Yeah.
for saying that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Any parting words for us today?
Oh gosh. Uh
Sorry, we put you on the
Yes,
spot.
superpowers. Yeah, just, you are the most advanced technology there is. There is nothing you cannot do. And if you are trying to limit what you think is possible, know that this year is the year of being in the impossibility and making it happen. And do it through the DNA, just like the sunflower. Just activate the frequency and start to play in your superpowers because within the next few years, we will be teleporting. We will be
Mhm.
using quantum telepathy to communicate. We will be altering particles. Like we will be hanging out on Zoom with our spoons and
And
bending.
bending them.
So,
We'll be beyond that.
let yourself release what you think is possible and just step in and ask to be shown what's possible, and then watch the magic happen.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Wow, Jules,
Thank
what a great
you.
conversation. Thank you.
So much.
Again, if you guys are looking for the product, go to houthustle.com/live, LIVE, and you can see all the special offers along with the calendar and who's speaking next. But you'll look for Jules in this conversation and you'll just go to her special offer, and then that's where you find things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Iris.
Thank you. Lots of hearts, lots of beautiful comments here. Gosh, and there's hearts exploding on this Zoom. I feel like I could have had a whole nother conversation with her just
Yes.
from her party words. Like,
No.
I was like, there's questions, there's so many questions, but it was really a treasure to have her today.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I'm glad we had this conversation. I feel like it was right at the right time too.
Yes.
Here we've started to explore the whispers, and now we're opening up for more of that ask and receive kind of. They
Yeah.
say that in the Bible, you know that.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have to take a break? Because I know I do.
Okay, no, you take a break.
Okay.
I'll just hang around. Just you guys have questions on at all about anything that you want to bring up while we have this short little break? We've got 10 minutes before we bring up Michelle. Wanted to tell you a little bit about some of our cool little sponsor products that we have. They're not necessarily sponsored as much as we just have really cool affiliate links because I'm obsessed with them. But the number one thing that I'm obsessed on is this Petco lab for dogs. And I feel kind of, I feel thank you about the scarf. I've been trying to change my style and bringing in the scarves I want. Uh, this is my short little infomercial. My dogs, as they got older, had this obsessive compulsive licking disorder on their feet. And I've tried to do everything. I keep their feet, clean, keep them, well, just eating very well in general. And it wasn't until I found this product, and it's a probiotic chew by Pet Lab. It changed every single thing. All of these sponsors that we're going to share within these commercials are on the live page under thanks to our sponsors. And they are truly products that have changed everything. So I just wanted to bring this in and mention it along the way, that if you are looking for something to help with your dogs and their obsessive compulsive licking of their paws, this is the one that has naturally worked for my animals. It does take a full month for it to get going. And then you're like, oh, this is the way. So they get one of these every single day. I think it actually recommends that they get three a day. But one does it. Maybe that's why it took a full month before it started working. So if you're looking for our sponsors, again, it's on the live page right under our main feed. And now that you went, I'm gonna go to.
Alrighty, let's see what everybody is writing in on the chat. It says, I have been calling in whispers.
Yeah.
God winks. Yes, those good God winks are so important to listen to, and many times, and to take action on. So many times when we will hear these whispers, we'll be like, yes, 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 I got that. In fact, I have one really in my face right now that I know I need to do, which is to take care of an invoice, but except for I just haven't sat down and logged in and set up the whole thing. So I just need to do that. And I know that God is already telling me, like, hey, just take care of what you need to take care of. And I'm like, yes, I already know, I forgot. Let's see. But those kind of things, you just want them to, they're there so that they can either remind you that you're on path, or to keep you kind of out of some muck and stuff, right? Because I don't want to pay a penalty for the invoice. I just know I just need to settle down and just take care of what I need to take care of. Or they're also there for you to receive more information and to get more downloads. So again, ask and you shall receive, and we always get more opportunities to do that. So that is why we are really taking it apart to make sure that you are listening to your whispers and that you're taking action upon them. So if you're putting them and you want some accountability, maybe in the school you ask people to say, hey, can you hold me accountable to this? Just like I'll ask y'all to hold me accountable to taking care of that login. Let's see. The more I notice them, the more I show gratitude. Yes. And then the more they come. And that's actually important too. I'm glad that you said that. I can't see your name because it's in this really strange blue that we have it set up to do. Um, Whenever we show gratitude for those whispers, it just lets spirit know, or it lets your higher self know, our guides know that we're listening. And it's like they, when how I view it is like they're always asking us to remember to ask for help. And many times whenever we are struggling with something, I can just see them going like, is she going to put me in? Is she going to ask me for help? Are they going to ask me for help? When are they going to ask me for help? I know today, right now, they're going to ask for help, and we don't. And we just keep going upon and just trying to define and make our own way of things. Just believing that we can drive our own wheel, if you will, instead of letting go and letting God, if you will. So, remembering that we have free will, and they're never going to override our free will. So, our angels, our spirits, our guides, they're never going to override our free will. So, when we ask for help, when we ask more questions around something, is when we can allow something to expand. And especially whenever we show gratitude for those signs, then they know that we're listening. So that's very exciting, because then they can show us more signs as well. Let me fix this camera before we start the next recording, guys. Just a second. So excuse me for doing so.
Do you want me to stop the recording here? I feel like I'm blurry now. It's better. All right. We got 4 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and stop and this is all the time we have. That's just on the live stream. What do we want to do that we don't want to? No, just kidding.
Oh, I was like, huh?
You're like, what?
Can we look at a couple more chat
Sure.
comments?
Uh,
Yeah. So I can't see it.
oh, can we watch replays this evening? Yes. They are up for a full week after the summit. And of course, we do have the VIP pass that you can find at the very bottom of the live page if you're looking for it.
Katie says loves your scarf, or Liz loves your scarf. It's so
I did.
pretty.
This-
Thank you, Jules.
It's a look.
Yeah, I love it. Maybe Stephen's speech is Egyptian channeling. Interesting. And then,
That was from Stephen. But
oh, okay, so that's where they're responding from. So we've got a lot of stuff on the chat for those who are joining us on the live stream. They are on the Zoom chat. So how's everybody feeling? What are any thoughts about it's 12:12 here, of course. Take a deep breath.
Careless whispers.
Allowing just intention to come in. And since Jules was talking about starting from intention, allow some of the information, if not all, to truly land. And if it's not landing, and if it's not for you, that's fine too. But for the things that we can be more open to receive, allowing our heart to just be filled with the gratitude for the different speakers and their information, and that we have these more open lines of communication to receive in ways that we as humanity have never received before. And that our light be ignited so that we can continue to ignite the light of others and the light of our families, the light of those we interact with, and even those we don't interact with. For we know just by simply doing this individually, we are changing the world.
Mm.
And take a deep breath. Anything that doesn't allow you to receive, know, believe, or operate, or anything that doesn't, okay, we'll go with doesn't allow you. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that now, please?
Yes.
And anywhere where you think this information works for everybody else but not you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that now, please?
Yes.
Take a deep breath. Thank you.
You guys, I just want to remind you that you can listen to day one. And we started the day with some breath work, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So if you've missed it, go back and watch all of day one and get caught up, because we're just going to keep collecting whispers from speakers all along the way.
Yeah, I kind of consider it kind of like the mommy sleuths, right? Of podcasting world where they're always like solving all these crimes. Well, let's solve these, like let's just uncover some mysteries here, right? Let's put together our whispers, our clues, and really find the mapping of consciousness,
Yeah.
of the divine, of what we're here to uncover. We are very capable humans with a lot of curiosity, and what better time to do this than now?
I know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and bring Michelle up.
and
This,
have a little fun while we're doing it.
yeah, this conversation is called Recalibrating Through Frequency to Expand the Life You're Here to Live.
Oh,
Mhm. So it's right on the same topic,
mhm.
just in a totally different way. And I think it'll be really fun. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jeneth Blackard.
And I'm Leonka Reina.
This is the Hustle Mystic Morning Show. Today we're talking with Michelle Niver, and we are exploring how to shift our frequency.
Yeah, exciting. Very exciting times.
Yeah. All right, Michelle, let's just dive into this.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Oh,
it's so good to
you're,
have you again.
it's so nice to be around somebody who really bees this
I know.
energy.
You can already feel the energy when she comes on the line, right?
Yeah.
I hope that all of you experience this too.
I've
Mhm.
been excited, so you're probably feeling it.
Good, because
Eh,
this is an exciting series, a little bit different than the ones before. It's like there's a movement behind it that seems like consciousness is taking this really for a ride,
For
and us for
sure.
a ride. Because I'm like, who are the biggest, most expansive speakers we've ever talked to, and let's put them all in one summit on oneness.
You did a good job.
Yeah,
And I've been
Nice.
watching, I listened yesterday and as much as I could
excellent.
this morning, and it's phenomenal and it's just all
Mhm.
tying in together. And I love the whispers
Mm.
theme of it all because so many
Yay.
people now, like we're real, I call them winks from the universe, but now I'm going to call them
Yeah.
Yeah.
whispers.
Yeah.
So many of us are experiencing them now in new ways and in ways we're just like, can that really have just happened?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
more we get aligned and the more, our frequencies are regulated, the more it happens. So it's just been amazing. Even just listening to the speakers is aligning us, just putting us in
Yes.
that mindset.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
let's dive in. For those who may not be familiar with you and your work, for just a little bit of just a tiny bit of your background, they can obviously listen to some of the previous interviews. We'll link them here, but tell us a little bit about how you got into this work and about your stuff.
A little bit accidentally. I I was a strange and psychic child that wanted to be normal, and I kind of just dismissed all of my psychic abilities as a young kid. But when I became a nurse, it came back. I started realizing that I had a lot of nursing intuition, and I would know things that were going to happen that were really not predictable. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And then I started just learning about energy. Things just started falling in my path, like new things I'd never heard of before. And one day I decided to quit my nursing job and become a massage therapist. And that led to many long, quiet hours with people. And then I realized the spirits were talking to me. And I don't think I would have ever realized that if I had never slowed down from the rat race of being an ER and flight nurse. It just
Mm,
wasn't going to happen for me. And so and one day I woke up spontaneously speaking in light language, and then it kept growing from there. I learned that everyone could speak it, and I just made that a huge part of my work, doing readings and helping other people align their energies. And binaural beats changed my life so much that I learned the technology to create them, and I started creating them for myself. And so now I create binaural beats as well. So it's just been a long, interesting journey of from weird to normal and back to weird.
Yes. Well,
perfect for this community.
I fit right in.
yeah, yeah. We yesterday we did talk a little bit about binaural beats and how it changes the brain. Do you want to talk about all the things that you found that really shifts the frequency?
Mhm,
So and like we just talked about in the last call, activates more of our DNA strands.
mhm. It really
Mhm.
does activate us more and more. And Leonka, you said earlier something about our DNA being a storage device, and it actually can hold over 215,000 terabytes of information in a sugar cube size, which is more than all of the movies that have ever been created.
Wow,
That's a
that's
very
a good stat.
Right? That's pretty crazy that we can store all that information and that
it
we really, the DNA is frequency.
right.
So there's a lot of things we can do. And it starts It starts with thinking. Like things that we think are frequencies of energies. And our brain waves are in different states depending on how we're thinking. And so beta state is like very active, looking for answers, worry, that kind of stuff would go into beta state. And so your frequency, just by the way you think, is changing. And so just gratitude, just saying thank you really does change your frequency over time. Dr. Emoto's work with water showed clearly that when we think something or we say something to water, it changes, and we're two-thirds water.
Yeah.
So our frequency is literally changing with our thoughts, and we're creating all the time with our thoughts. We're always creating this world together. So it starts with the way we think, but how do we do that when things are really hard? And that's why I like binaural beats so much. It's like we all have a lot going on in life, and we all, have probably some sort of traumas in our past, and binaural beats just naturally take you there. They naturally regulate your nervous system and regulate your frequency. But even if you don't get binaural beats, what about going out in nature? Like it's been shown many different ways that the vibration of nature is contagious and we take it on
Mhm.
and it changes us. It changes our frequency. So even just putting your bare feet on the ground, those are electrons,
Mhm.
frequencies of energies coming out of the ground. It could be grass, it could be concrete, it could be sand or dirt, just not a painted surface, but you can almost ground anywhere. 30 minutes a day has been shown like massive benefits for how people feel and how they heal. So that's
Mhm.
free, and anyone can do it. Depending on the weather, you may or may not want to go outside. uh, Listening to going to sound baths or receiving energy medicine from someone, all of that changes the frequency. Light language changes our frequency massively, and everyone
Mhm.
can speak light language. It's just a matter of remembering it and getting activated for it. And that doesn't take a lot to do. And
And
light
getting
language,
rid of the judgment over it.
right? That's one of the biggest things that people get held back with light language is, what if I'm making it up? What if it sounds weird? So that self-judgment around it makes people afraid to speak. And if you don't ever speak, right, you don't ever
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
So, but light language causes a state of, it quiets your mind. It changes your nervous system more. It changes your brain waves more to an alpha or theta state, more relaxed state where you're more psychic. And focused human attention. They've measured this with those kids that are reading and riding bicycles and putting together color-coded puzzles with blindfolds on.
Yeah.
They go into focused meditation and their brainwave frequencies change and a hole opens up in their eye. Their eyes are closed and a hole opens up and they can see inside of the book just as if their eyes were open.
Yeah.
And so when we speak light language, that happens to us as well. We get that focused attention state, our that the brainwave state goes away, and we start moving down into a more psychic state. And then we receive even more whispers and more guidance from our higher self and our guides.
Do you suggest for people who might feel a little embarrassed about opening up their communication with light language to at least start doing maybe some y- I know a lot of people have been doing like a writing and they'll write certain light language and glyphs and stuff like that. Does it have some similar effects? And do you find people kind of progressing into speaking from there? Or what has been your experience with that?
It depends on the person. One
Yeah.
thing that I found really incredible about all of us as humans is that almost everyone I've done it with, I have a whole session that I do where I work with people for an hour to help activate them for light language. And what shocked me is that almost everyone starts speaking it once they've gotten some energy work, and then they repeat words, and then their own innate light language comes out.
Mhm.
But with regard to drawing symbols or even just like moving your hands in certain ways that just feel good to you, that's energy movement, right? Just like speaking is energy movement. And so I think that for someone who's feeling really self-conscious about speaking it, we'll do it alone. Don't do it around anybody, one.
Yeah.
But yeah, drawing those things or moving your body in that way can actually activate the speech to come out as well. And like you said about the DNA being storage device, or we said, is I think all those languages are already stored in us.
Yeah.
And plus we're consciousness projected into some sort of virtual reality where we have access to all the languages already. You think about it, like we could live anywhere on earth and learn the language. It's just how we are.
Mhm.
So,
Hmm.
absolutely. If you're afraid of it, then try just drawing it and see how that makes you feel. Everyone I've ever talked to that has used any form of light language feels better. It's like pressure
Yep.
gets relieved
Yeah.
and the mind quiets. I have a free light language group coming up, or a free light language activation coming up next month.
Hmm.
And so anyone can join if
Yeah.
you're like nervous about it. You don't even have to turn your camera on. You can turn your mic off and just we'll go through the activation as a group and no one will hear you. So that's
Yeah.
available if you want to try it. An easy way to
Yeah.
get started with it. But light language changed me. It connected me to a lot of different realms and a lot of different groups of consciousness. I was already working as a psychic, but once I started speaking light language, I started channeling all kinds of other different groups. We might call some of them ETs or interdimensionals, and it just grew and grew. And then I found that we can, just like with angels, right? We can invoke their assistance. And so I found that I had all these friends outside of here that I could communicate
Yay.
with in light language, and then they would help people here with their energy. And we can all do that. So, um,
Yeah. Well, since your encouragement on light language, I feel like now it's getting translated for me. Like it just used to start as noises and then it becomes through as translation.
mhm.
And the more that you're with it, the more comfortable you get, the more it grows. And it has opened up. And and where I really want to bring this conversation is when we speak, those come usually from our thoughts. And the thought, I think people don't realize the electric magnetic frequency that that thought really creates in the actual field. And light language is the same. It may not be necessarily from a thought, but it comes first as the words or word. And then it seems that the thought can translate if it if a translation comes through. Do you
Mhm.
want to talk a little bit about how we manifest or how we, really operate as a multidimensional being to create here and how to use these words and this light codes to really expand and grow.
Yeah, well, we can use it to help create this world and to help heal ourselves and to help heal other people and animals and plants. And the way that I think about it is what we're already doing is we're creating through a few different mechanisms. One is our
Mm.
intention, one is our focus, one is energy from somewhere. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, most of the time, that's coming from our thoughts and our emotions.
And our,
And
our bigger self.
and our bigger self. And so when we think about wanting to manifest something or create something, I should say, with light language, we just have to call in that energy and state the intention around what we want. And then we speak the light language that comes out around it to change the frequency of the situation.
Wow.
And you can even, like I learned about energy medicine with working on meridians and energies like that. And I found that you don't even have to use your hands on those stimulation points to make the energy move. You can say, in the name of the highest good, I call upon a light language transmission that strengthens the central meridian and is with so much gratitude. I'm of service in this way, and I thank you, thank you, thank you. And then you just let anything come out in light language, and it makes the adjustments. And I tested it in the beginning with like doing muscle testing on people to see if it worked on the energies, and it absolutely did. And
Wow.
then people who started speaking light language and who were also interested in helping spirits move on started getting back in touch with me, and they said, "You're not going to believe it. I can help spirits cross with light language." I'm like, "I do believe
Oh,
it. You can do it. Because you
yeah.
create with light language, you create this state of coherence in your own field. And that's why the ghost
Ah,
is stuck because there's no coherence in their field. They just literally don't see the way out and they're
yeah.
stuck in,
Oh,
right? And so we can create
purgatory.
this field, right, of coherence. And then through quantum entanglement and our intention, we connect in with that soul and with their higher self, and we share our coherence with them, and
Nice.
right, they just go across. It's really amazing. I haven't found anything I can't use light language on, from my cats to my own health to
Yeah.
clients to plants and just spirits. It's amazing. And really, it only takes those things to create and your emotion, which if it's gratitude,
Yes.
right, it works really well. Gratitude and love, energy from somewhere. Light language brings in a massive amount of energy, your
Yeah.
intention and your focus. And we
Do you
can,
think we could do an activation like that with light language now?
yeah, I was thinking that we could do an activation
That'd be
today.
great.
Mhm.
Cool.
So, what I was wondering is if you might want one that helps you align like all your cells of the body with the reality in a way that the synchronicities start becoming, or the whispers start becoming more obvious for you.
Yes.
I love
Okay.
that. That's
Okay.
perfect. Yeah.
Whispers are my favorite thing in human life.
Yay. Oh,
Yeah.
fun. See?
It's just so amazing, like what we get from it if we follow those signs. And like you said, like I think in one of your posts, follow the rabbit hole, like go down that rabbit hole
It's
and find
so
out
funny.
what the heck was that synchronicity
I
about, right?
know.
It's
And it's like our guides, it's like they just keep showing up even more so and more so, especially like if we're writing them down and acknowledging them, then you're going, oh my gosh, you won't even believe what happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I mean,
you're
and those simple things, like, and a lot of people would just roll their eyes at them in normal reality, and we're like, oh my gosh, I saw a bird.
the more you do that, right, the more you're building this highway to spirit
Yeah.
that makes the connection
Yes.
easier and easier. Like it's the first time you
Uh-huh.
walk through the woods, you don't see a path. You keep going through there. Eventually, there's a path there. It's kind of the
That's
same
true. That's
thing.
funny. That's
Before,
cute.
Yeah.
before we do this, I want to just share one little tiny thing. I had a mentor along the way in this consciousness journey, and he had us work with putting out signposts along the
That's what I
way
was gonna
so
say.
that we would know, when we were having a better and deeper communication with consciousness. So, how much of these whispers are just our higher self saying, there's another signpost, pay attention, keep going, keep moving forward, or whatever the angel number is that piques our attention. And so I just wanted to put that out there as something that can kind of be in the frequency as we do this.
100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
Are you
So they
ready?
can put out more signposts.
I don't think we were ever meant to be without that guidance. I think it's always supposed to be there, but this
Mhm.
world gets kind of distracting and sometimes
Kinda.
we're
Yeah.
right. Sometimes we're not noticing. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll get quiet for a moment and I'll do a light language activation for everyone. They'll say whoever they are coming through, and for us to all receive that guidance more strongly, and for us to be able to slow down in our minds and just take it in this amazing experience as humans. We're humans having a Zoom meeting right now. Okay, so let me get quiet. I thank you all for being here, and I thank your guides and my guides for this activation today, for alignment, so that we may be more in touch with the whispers of our guides and our higher self and source. We are Divine Mother Collective, and we are pleased to meet your vibrations. Hai sumahi kia masuramana kariora samoye. Ye umai kia umai tiaro sumahi. Yalana samboda kanahi. Ye umai soko. You are always connected. Katula hana sunomoriki harana sunomakum. We invite you to remember through this transmission. Shalio tulumani sanakiro sunomoriki. Iheho sumokana iti. Hey osumye ye ye. Halanye. Ohoma kira sunomoka. Ehemo sotomae. Holosorum naharasumoi. Itia oshnaya kirasumai. You are more loved than you can imagine. Narasimeke arasana kirasmontio nasia kuma. Dirasumai kium. Marisina chia sumai. Hikanara sumai kium. Marian shumoi. Ishumoe otamai. We leave you with this story of your creation to empower you to know that you are always, always connected. You are always supported. Ye, 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 ma. Maria kulada sanayaro ora kimawa. Ora kira sonamaya tomai. Shalium basio kumai. Moratio kumai. Omoro sotoraka. Wa so kumai. Ichion doskoraya kuma. Iharas ocho umbo aki. Basio toso umbario toroayaku. Iandos kiamahati. Choshotai. Ambos kanahora. Yeom. Mayata sorahi. Basio kubahiti. Shuma itiom. Halan, halan, halan. Deoshoro kumahitiom. Mariotum, mariotum. Mboshotalai. Om Shanti Om. Take a few deep breaths. And as you do that, thank your body for being such an amazing vessel for your soul, so very far from home, here to experience what you're not, to grow your soul and help others. We thank you.
I have a question that I want to ask now.
Mhm.
So, in knowing Sanskrit from yoga, there is some Sanskrit in there.
Mhm.
And that makes me think of some text that I read where it said that Kuan Yin was probably some Palladian or Turian or something like that. And that's where Sanskrit comes from.
Mhm.
Do you know of anything among this thought or energetically? What do you get?
I don't, but it's interesting you bring up Kuan Yin because she
Mm.
is part of the Divine Mother collective energy.
Oh
And
my goodness.
yeah,
Okay.
and I don't think that what I've gotten from them is that we're not from necessarily any one place, but
Mm,
we're from source, right? We
sure.
spend a lot of time with certain star systems,
Mm,
and gosh, as you say that, uh, Pleiadian comes through so strongly in my
yeah.
consciousness as you ask it, but I don't really know for sure the answer to that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and when we were talking with Ahamna, she said that all of these galactic systems have to come through like Earth is like Grand Central Station.
Mhm.
And so it's like, yeah, yes, you're Arcturian, Palladian, all these things, because yes, you are in the star system,
Yeah, that makes sense,
right?
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I now I feel like that's just way over defined for what we're
That's so
even
funny.
talking about now.
So that's exactly what I got. So I got
Mhm.
that I could feel that there was some leaning toward even Hawaiian or Japanese or any aspects. And then I was just like immediately I heard don't define.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then I then activated my pineal gland to just allow it to be and to just go and expand. So since we just heard about that, ladies,
Yes.
earlier. And so then it was basically just allow it to be without, and what else can it be? And then without defining it so that it wouldn't fall under the umbrella of the collective and have that
Oh,
be what what confines it. And so I
Lee,
just was letting it just
Leonka, that was the message when they told the story about us coming here. That's what they said. They said that we came here, that it took a while to formulate a human body and DNA that would hold such an immense being as our soul, a part of
yeah.
our soul, and that a huge part of what we came to do was just be and to observe and like report back to source and report back to our higher self and like grow our consciousness and to have fun. Like that was
Wow.
literally what they were saying to me or through the transmission at the end when they said
Wow.
we would tell you the story to empower you. Just be here, observe as
Yeah.
a spirit in a human body. And that's
Cool.
amazing that you
Wow. And
totally tapped into that.
one of our speakers,
Yeah, it is.
remember, I don't remember who it was, but they said that, when you go back to heaven or after this life, you will just look at this and giggle because it's just like you were on camera, like you were an actor,
For sure. I
right?
believe
Yeah,
that's very
right.
true. Yes.
So it's like in some ways, some actors like the victimhood and the drama because it's like a telenovela. They like that acting experience where some of us are just like, no, I'll take the path less ridden,
Right. I heard
right?
a story from a lady once who had a near-death experience, and she said when she left her body and was with her guides outside of here, they said, well, it's not your time, but you have to go back with an injury. And they went through all these different scenarios of deformities they could give her body. And she said they were cracking up laughing about all of them, like in a way that you
Oh,
would never
wow.
do here, right? In that body. And she
Oh,
just
and
came
we'd be
back.
like, oh no, you poor thing
Yeah,
in a
right. But
wheelchair.
it was the exact point that you just made is like outside of here, we don't feel that heaviness of it all. And we
Yeah.
know outside of here that this is so temporary and that it's actually a pretty special experience we get to have.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not a long experience either, where it
It's
seems
not.
like some of these other star systems have this much longer life cycle, so to speak.
We knew it would be too hard to stay too long.
It's a very dense
We're kind
place.
of like,
It's
some
close
days
in.
it's like all light and fluffy in my world, and then there's other days. I was telling Leonka yesterday, I went to the grocery store right after the show.
Y'all are gonna laugh. Y'all are gonna laugh.
And I had, a bag of jars on the counter, and the whole bag just tipped off the counter, and every single jar in it broke. And, and when they was some kombuchas in there, and I wanted to drink one during the show. So it's like I was over it. Yes, it took, a half an hour to clean up. But this morning I got up and then I had this like little sadness that was like a cloud. And I was just like, I don't know. It was like I was all happy go lucky. I was even fine, like cleaning it up. But now that I don't have my kombucha on the show, I have this human, like true human sadness, like now I just have to drink water, or something like that.
Maybe
And
that was a whisper, maybe a loud
yeah,
whisper that
well,
you were
the
going to get a
more,
bellyache from it or burp or something
That's what she
on
got.
the
well,
show.
that is what I got. Was I was like, well, clearly my body didn't want that because my husband said, "Do you want me to go back to the store and get them?" And I was like, "No." I mean, I trusted my body and the frequency of the choice of it, but there is still this construct and the
Right.
sadness of this little bit of attachment that I wanted it, just to have as kind of a little thing to sip on. And I know that this is kind of like it's like get over it kind of moment. But what I'm realizing as we speak, it's really coming through as everything is in divine order.
Liz said you were saved from a misaligned batch of
I was
kombucha.
saved from a misaligned batch.
And that is how our whispers can actually really save us, right? Because then think about the spiral you could have had if you had a stomach
Yeah,
ache
I
and
might not have been
you
on
made
the
a
show
show,
tomorrow.
right? And spirit was like, Divine was like, no, you're gonna be on this show.
Right.
I think that's exactly how our guides work.
Well, I
I
Sometimes
do
do
it's
too.
louder than
too. And
others.
that's
Yeah.
why, and I think that the interesting thing is instead of it remaining light like it was last night, it was just kind of this like
So what do you do with that cloud, right? So what do
Yeah,
you, I
I
think
think that's
it's a really interesting point because in some ways I can roll my eyes and be like, oh, that is such,
yeah. I mean,
third
but it was
world,
also
like
like $20 worth of stuff that I'm like that I have to go reshop again too. So there's also other noise around it too, right? And I think
right.
that maybe this is a really
And I'm
good
like,
real
oh, poor
conversation.
you, right? Like, oh, you didn't get your kombucha when people are having problems
Yeah,
that are real in the world.
no, I know.
And
Yeah, and
I'm not
it's not,
downplaying that.
yeah,
What I'm
no.
saying is that sometimes there are these things that happen, and then you got a cloud, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you got a cloud over it. Oh my God. Like,
For something that you drink, right?
and that's how
It's
I
not even
think,
like a
right?
beer or something. It's not,
But for you, it was something for real. And those
yeah.
little things can add up to where, like, if you didn't notice that, you could have taken that out into the world and then
Yeah.
could have gave somebody else a cloud, right? Or, and then really you messed up somebody's day or whatever, right? Like, I think those are how things snowball. And if you,
Yes.
by you listening to that or
Mhm.
just acknowledging it, also means that you were listening then to your guides and your whispers,
Yeah.
right? So you're taking information that is coming from the field
Mhm.
that you may not have really liked, right? It has a little inconvenience,
Well,
but
so Michelle, what would you say? I mean,
Yeah.
how do one, I mean, because I feel like me just even telling Leonka about the stupid story, I was done processing it and ready to
Yeah.
do the show. But,
Sometimes we
what
have to
if I
do
was
that.
still in it?
Yeah. So the way spirit shows it to me is like there's always waves of energy moving through
Hmm.
reality from wherever they're coming from, right? And so some of those you could think of like here's the line. Some of them are what we call negative energy. Sometimes they're above the line and they're positive. Well, say we have that experience and you knock all your kombucha down and break it, and you don't release through telling Leonka the story, but you hold on to it all day and you're like, what the F is wrong with me? Why
Well,
do
and then
you
yeah,
there's
know why
other
is
things
everything
that'll
happening? The
will match the
next
frequency, right?
exactly the next low wave that comes through your awareness, you're going to be attached to that. But instead, you tell the story and you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe that was spirit trying to help me. Just change the perspective around it, right? That changes your nervous system, it changes your brainwave state. And then the next higher wave comes by, you may catch that one more easily. So what do I do?
Hmm.
Like sometimes that happens. And you know what? Sometimes it's not as little as it seems to another person. You might have had a whole like build up to that kombucha, like it was the way that you
Hmm.
were going to celebrate the day
oh,
and
true.
right, like you
Yeah.
might have really
Yeah.
built something up emotionally around
Yeah.
that, and then suddenly it just crashes to the ground. That's not little, but
My
right,
whole celebration went
right.
down.
Somebody rained on my damn parade, and but what I will say is that speaking light language is the first thing that I do. I know other people who say the same thing. I have a friend who broke her arm or broke her shoulder, and she couldn't help it. The first thing that happened was she just started speaking light language. Someone cuts me off in traffic. I can't almost help it. I start speaking light language.
Well,
It's
Like
I
it.
do that often
right,
whenever I get
relieves the pressure.
frustrated. Yeah, it
I have a
does.
client who has a stressful drive to work. I have a 10-minute binaural beats, and she puts that in and listens to it on her way to work because it keeps her brain waves in a nice frequency for driving through that and not ending up angry or upset about other people's driving. So my first go-to is think about it. Okay, how else can I reframe this situation? Even
Hmm.
if it's not true, it takes your nervous system out of fight, flight, or freeze. It puts you in a different
Uh-huh.
state, right? It just changes your frequency. And then I say something like, "Well, thank you for whatever that was." And I try to smile even if I don't mean it because I'm using different muscles when I smile, and my nervous system knows about that. So it's like it changes my frequency even just to smile and say thank you. Even if I don't feel it, it still works to some degree.
Hmm.
And then the light language, and then that's about it. That's what I do. And if I can, I listen
Nature.
to nature, go
Yeah.
outside, put your feet on the ground, connect to the earth, thank your guides for protecting you in whatever way that was.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
things you could do, but don't ruminate on it because then it'll happen again or something else will happen
Yeah.
similar to it, right?
Jules said to take a shower, and
Take a
Karen
shower.
to Tobiasen said
Hmm.
go take a nap because you're not operating from your highest good, and you're just going to keep impacting some of that collective noise.
But
For
if you
sure.
can't, if you can't,
Yeah.
then find other
You're
ways. Like,
stuck here interviewing amazing light workers. What do you
Showers.
do?
I like that
find a
she
way to
said
laugh
that.
about it.
Showers are amazing way to change your frequency. They
Yeah, they
really do
are.
help. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I highly recommend that as well.
Yeah. I took a bath with sesame seed oil because last week we had an Ayurvedic practitioner on and saying how sesame seed oil helps you release. I got out feeling like a greasy peanut, but it was
I
really
bet you smelled
good.
good.
But I did that after the whole crash because I was like, all right, well, I better go take a bath.
And breathe. We didn't talk about breathing. Breathe. Take a breath.
Yes,
I mean,
yes. I mean, that's where we started this whole series,
Right.
right?
exactly. There's so many
Hmm.
different ways you can do it. I go to the 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, the
Yeah.
heart brain coherence breath.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
brings your blood into the Mayer wave state, which it's really supportive and it calms your brain down. One thing I didn't
Hmm.
mention is there's an energy medicine hold you can do that brings blood back up to your brain. When we get stressed, we lose a lot of blood from the front of our brain and we can't think as clearly. So you can either put one hand on your forehead and one hand on the back of your head like that
Uh-huh.
and hold for 6 long breaths, or put your fingers where the pulses should be outside of your
Yeah.
eyebrows
And-
and then close your eyes 6 long breaths. And
Uh-huh.
that helps bring blood back. And that changes a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
You think
I can
about
do
like that's the
that.
first thing we do is like, oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
do that. And
Interesting.
or just even like, sometimes if I feel like I'm floating above myself, I'm like, okay, ground.
Yeah, I've seen you do
Yeah,
mhm,
that.
you
mhm.
physically touching my head seems to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have in my clear the noise program, hand postures that was just kind of pulled out. We should
Tana says water is an
that.
amazing conduit.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and I saw a couple of other chats up there too. Uh,
Hmm.
if anybody has any questions for Michelle, please raise your hand or write them in on the chat as
Yeah.
well. I want to make sure that we get to those too.
Michelle, do you know about some of the science behind binaural beats and how it
Mhm.
works with brain? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do. So a lot of the binaural beats are such a low frequency that our human ears wouldn't be able to hear them. And so
Hmm.
the binaural beats aren't actually those brainwave frequency states. They are two tones. One goes in one ear, one goes in the other ear. And the difference between those two tones equals the frequency of a certain brainwave state. So
Whoa.
say like 8 hertz, like 100 hertz in one ear, 100 and 8 hertz in the other ear. The brain has to work to decode the difference between those tones, and that helps with hemispheric synchronization,
I
which
was just going to
helps
talk about that.
with so
Yes.
many different things. And so the brain decodes the difference. They call it a phantom tone. And it call it a frequency following response, where the brain starts to generate that frequency that is the difference between the two tones. That's how it
Mhm.
works.
And can you talk
I
a little
didn't
bit
know
about
that.
the hemisphere balancing and why some of the benefits of that?
hmm There's a condition in energy medicine called homolateral brain energy. And when I was doing a lot of work with testing people to see if they were in that condition, I found that about 100% of people who told me that they were fatigued, depressed, unmotivated, easily frustrated, think that's all of them. I found that all of those people, when I muscle tested them, their brain energy was not crossing over effectively. And that's a symptom of homolateral brain. And so what you can do is listen to binaural beats, and the brain has to do that work to decode the frequency differences, and it just
It
syncs
crosses.
up those hemispheres. And so then suddenly people aren't depressed anymore. It's a major reason for depression.
Yes.
And it doesn't take a lot. Like you do have to do it more than once, but it doesn't take long for some people to just automatically start feeling better. Alpha is really good for depression as well, by the way. And
Hmm.
so fatigue goes away. People aren't frustrated anymore. They feel more motivated. They start having new ideas. It changes everything when your hemispheres are more synced up. And then your psychic abilities become easier. And if you think about it, like if you're grumpy and depressed, you're not going to know you're in fight or flight a lot. And so you're not going to notice those whispers the same way. And
Yeah,
syncing up
yeah,
those hemispheres just makes all of that stuff more obvious.
right.
Right.
Because It makes me go back to thinking about you're working on those lower DNA strands and your human DNA strands instead of in your um, more
Divine.
expansive
Mhm.
divine right.
Right, right. Because you're trying to deal with that situation in the body from the perspective of the
Right.
body, not from beyond where the
Correct.
consciousness lives. Right.
Yeah. That makes me want to do more binaural beats.
So I found
Yeah.
binaural beats because I was working with low motivation and procrastination. This was back when I was doing a lot more sales, and I was just had this resistance. And then I would find myself putting on binaural beats. I was kind of like in the flow. But what I realized was that I was probably suffering from some form of just misalignment where my hemispheres weren't syncing up, and that was causing me to feel fatigue, unmotivation, depression
Mhm.
that I was misclassifying as like procrastination or
Mhm.
right or unmotivation. So like I really was suffering from some a little bit of form of depression because I
Yeah.
wasn't really aligned with what I was working on and working in.
Yeah.
But that was showing up in other ways. So when I used the binaural beats, I found myself like really in the flow, like I could
Yeah.
be back in it. And what I realized was is that I was having that hemisphere balance again.
Mhm.
And that's what really, that was really what it was treating instead of I found it just a different way.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of now we have binaural beats like some from someone like Michelle, who has more of a in tune with consciousness
Consciousness.
as well, right? So you're
Yeah.
really bringing in that spiritual aspect
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
far as the healing can go. So I think that's just really wonderful
I
to know her work that way.
Yeah, we had
But
this man on once, and we wanted to change his program to be an
Oh,
MP4 instead of an A M4A or whatever they're called. And because we people knew what an MP3 was. And he's like, no, 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 you can't do that because it also has the fifth dimensional frequency on it. And if you change the format, it loses that.
so it
You know,
probably
and
had one and one like site
yeah,
like it had one on one speaker and one on
and
the
the
other.
other,
Yeah,
yes,
instead of binding them both, right? So
right.
yeah,
yeah, it has to be separate or the brain doesn't do the
Right,
decoding. Yeah.
right.
right,
And
right,
that's why it's important to listen with headphones,
right.
Right. Or earbuds, right?
or earbuds in both. Yeah,
And try to
I
get
just,
wired ones. Try not to use Bluetooth stuff.
yes,
That's not good for your brain.
I think so too.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
I
bad
think there's
at not
studies
using
about
stuff
it.
like that though.
Well, here's your gentle reminder. Here's your
But
whisper.
yes, I do
There's your
appreciate
whisper.
because I heard that on another
I
podcast and
can
I do sleep
Mm.
with them a lot.
intuitively I knew that. I
Yeah.
just had this really bad feeling about it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we're first generation testing on those AirPods.
Right, we
Mhm.
are.
You
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
told my son that too.
Well, then I'll let go of them.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. I care about you.
Well, and I need my brain working the best it can through my years to come. So I appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about your package because I really I know that binaural beats is a part of it here. But first, I would like to get the page back up. I feel like the light language just made me all like chill and floaty. So I'm sorry for
And that's the funny thing about running a podcast or
when
a live
we're doing
show.
activations at
With
the
that,
same time.
yeah, getting activations. And we don't have a in-studio producer. We do have somebody that's offline. Like, she
Yeah.
handles all our back end stuff. But, as far as like getting these things up.
We're like, wait, I got to use another part of my brain. Just a second. Let me figure that out. Here's what's in Michelle's program, though. And I just think that this is a really, really cool program because there's no doubt in my mind, that's why we're giving you hertz frequencies as the summit enhancer because it is just such an important way to calm your nervous system and in this way make some changes around your anxiety, your depression, other things like that. Michelle, do you want to talk a little bit more about the actual digital program here?
Yeah, yeah. So binaural beats was one of the probably top three life-changing things in my whole life.
Mm.
And when I started to make them on my own, I just did that so because I wanted to experiment with my own consciousness
Hmm.
and my own psychic abilities. So every one of these I made for me, and I gave them to some other people to see what would happen to other people in addition to experimenting on my own brain. And I found I tailored each one to something that I found was really common in human life. For instance, like needing to reset the nervous system in a short amount of time so you could continue to move forward with your day, or tuning back into the Schumann resonance through frequency, or uh, letting go of past traumas and fears that you're holding on to through frequency. I just went through all the different things that people encounter in their lives, and I created an audio track to assist with those things. Some of them are also for out-of-body experiences, bringing your brain into a deep delta state that can help with sleep, and it can also help with expanded awareness outside of the human body. So I don't see them on there, all of them written yet, but there are several different ones.
Yeah.
And so there's ones for, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So the 10-minute nervous system reset, that's the one someone told me they like to use in traffic. I put that
Okay.
one in if I've had a difficult session with someone, like a really upsetting story or something I have to let go of before my next session, or I have an upsetting situation in my own life and I just need to keep moving forward. I pop that one in. And sometimes I can't believe how well that works. Sometimes I listen to it 2 or 3 times if I have time, but it's amazing even in 10 minutes. The next
Wow.
one is a theta
Well, 10
binaural.
minutes is a lot
10 minutes is
to
a
yeah,
lot,
Yeah.
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 But it's not an hour and a half.
No, agreed, agreed.
The next one is also theta, which will slow your
Hmm.
brain down, allow you to be more psychic, allow you to
Yeah.
tune into your guides, to get those whispers more easily. And so this one is, I think, a half an hour long, and it helps me quite a bit. I've got a lot of reports from people who are really holding on to things that they couldn't let go of. They'd been
Right.
betrayed, or they were going through a divorce, or loss of a pet or a loved one. And they said that while it doesn't necessarily fix everything all the time, it gave them so much relief just to listen to this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And
So
also
that's
the things that we think that are released, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I
Mhm.
had no idea I was still holding on to that in some way.
So many
Those
layers.
right,
Mhm.
right. So this is great for that.
It is. And the more you listen to these, the more they work. I listen every day to one
Hmm.
of these.
Wow.
Well, no
Or
wonder you feel that energy, right? Everyone can feel your energy.
Yeah,
It's so light and lovely.
I know. It's just
thank
like,
It makes
you.
sense now.
yeah.
I wasn't always like this.
Mm.
I kind of joke that I used to like be a bitchy emergency nurse, and
Yeah.
I
Wow.
got my frequencies regulated, and it changed me, and it changed how I feel. And I still have, right? I'm human. I still
Right.
have difficult situations, but what I found is that these really help me go back to a state of balance and being able to move
Hmm.
forward. So I just pick the ones that I feel like I need that day, and sometimes I listen to the same one over and over again. Anyway, the heart-brain
Yeah.
coherence one is the one that will bring you into a state of heart-brain coherence if you listen
Hmm.
long enough. And that's got the Mayer wave in it. And it will, hearing the frequencies through the auditory nerve will change the vibration of your blood. And that will bring you into a state of heart-brain coherence and heart rate variability, which is really important for health and for being able to emotionally process things. It also helps to change the electromagnetism, like the aura, our biofield of energy that we're sharing with other people. It makes it
Wow.
more magnetic and more
I was gonna say
coherent.
more magnetic.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. The next one is that one is the 432 Earth Resonance Sound Bath. And that one helps you just to feel like more grounded. Earlier, when Jenith was pushing her energy down on her head, that's what this does. It helps
Yeah.
bring you back down to a place for me, it helps me even be more logical about situations,
Mhm.
or helps me to, if I've been like maybe channeling all day long, this one helps me to come back to like being able to have a conversation with my neighbor or
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah,
like that
Yeah.
about, how's the weather?
Or pull up the
yeah,
social offer.
yeah.
It just grounding, it helps with grounding. I also will
Yeah.
sit outside with that one in and put my feet on the ground.
Oh, nice.
The chakra
I
one
feel
is
like I need
special,
this.
I know, I was gonna
right? We
say
all
like that
do.
might be something that we kind of run in between times.
Yeah, we should sample some of these with
Yeah.
the group.
I listened to one before I came on. So,
Nice.
okay, the chakra journey one is cool and it's different from other chakra ones, I think, that I
Mhm.
found anyway, in that I made binaural beats for the frequency to match the frequencies of, I used the chakra frequencies, the seven major chakras, to create the binaural beats. So it's 35 minutes, it goes through seven major chakras, and it starts with the root, and each 5 minutes is a progression into a higher chakra from root to
Mm.
sacral to solar plexus. And the binaural beats stay delta the whole time, but the frequencies that the brain is receiving are chakra frequencies to create those delta beats, if that made
Okay.
sense to you.
Yeah.
So this one is really good for deep, deep meditation and deep healing. I will listen to this one before I go to bed a lot. Delta's
Mhm.
great for
Yeah.
before you go to bed. And this one's very musical. Some of them are more just frequency, and some
Mm.
of them are musical. And this one, I really like the music that I put on this one. So that's one of my favorites, along with the next one, which is my favorite, I think, the Owl Spirit Medicine one.
I remember this one. Yes.
Yeah, owls are one of my guides. I always have owls when there's going to be a big change, and so I made this one initially for me, and then I refined it over time after giving it to some other people. But there's a lot of owl vocalizations in this one, so if you don't like owls, don't listen to this one.
That's
But
okay.
I find that when we listen to something that we respond to in our minds as a spirit animal, and we hear that over and over, it kind of strengthens that connection to that spirit.
Mhm.
So I like that about this one, because many people feel connection with the owls.
They
This
do.
Yeah.
this one's a theta journey, and so theta is like the trance state, and it will really calm and slow your mind down for you to have better clairvoyance. And I noticed that with myself and with another person who listens to this one a lot. She said her clairvoyance, her ability to see information from spirit, increased with this one. So
Mm.
that's probably my favorite one. Psychic development, alpha binaural. That's the one I listened to before I came on,
Awesome.
just to slow my brain, because I have been
Mm.
thinking, I have been listening, I have been
Mhm.
multitasking to come on. And I said, I'm going to just sit down and put this in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really slows your brain down like that. It gets you out of that active thinking state, but it doesn't space you out. It just makes you more alert to what's going on in your earth life, and also what's coming from spirit. It softens the brain waves so that you can receive more easily. And I do frequently listen to that one in preparation for my day of doing readings, because it just gets me out of, getting ready for work mode and into I'm ready for spirit mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but without like spacing me out or making me feel
Right.
like I need to take a nap. The next one is gamma binaural, which is the highest brainwave state, and that one is excellent for focus
Mm.
and also for intuition and expanded states of awareness. I will listen to that one a lot when I have to like work on the website or make binaural beats
Yeah.
and think about how I'm doing things. I will listen to that one because it really makes you more focused. And I have people who use that one for studying as well.
Nice.
Then the solfeggio and Schumann resonance, that's the
Mhm.
7.83 Schumann resonance that I used for the alpha binaural on that one. And it also has solfeggio tones and just helps with release and grounding. That one is very nice. I think that one is mostly a frequency. Then the delta consciousness,
Does it
uh,
say 90 minutes?
it is 90 minutes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. These are long.
Some are 90 minutes, some are 60, some are around 30, and then there's
Mhm.
Which
two.
is great
Yeah.
because you can
Mhm.
just let them play in the background,
Sure.
like whether you're reading and you don't have to stop and start it a lot
Right,
either,
right.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
and you can go to sleep with these in,
Right.
and you can download all of them. You don't need to have your Wi-Fi on or anything to listen to them. They can all be downloaded.
Mhm.
So, gateway consciousness, delta binaural is the 4 hertz frequency that Bob Monroe used in their out-of-body studies at the Monroe Institute. And so I used the same frequencies in that one that he used for his. And that was, I think, the first one I made for my own out-of-body experiences, and it works pretty well. It also helps people sleep.
Wow.
And then the next one is specifically for sleep, and
Uh-huh.
that's also Delta. And I added pink noise to that because it relaxes the nervous system and helps
Mhm.
people's minds quiet more easily.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Then one more 10-minute one is the 10-minute gong reset, and that's a
Mhm.
bunch of different beautiful gongs. And it just helps the nervous system relax as well. And all of these things that help the nervous system relax, they help you expand your consciousness. They help you be more in sync with the multiverse and with your guides, and just help you feel better.
Yeah.
I feel like the gong reset also, if you didn't have it on the headphones, if you just like played it out loud, it also clears the energy of the space too.
Yes.
It does. You're right
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
about that. Thank you for saying that.
yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes you just want to clear the energy and yeah, if you've had some guests over and they were just kind of busy, then then that helps to do that. You can just play it in the energy, maybe the room that they slept in and stuff like that.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's a great recommendation. I agree. Soul
Uh,
Code Recalibration. This is a session that I created that's a few different modalities. I was trained in Eden energy medicine and something called Touch for Health, where I work with meridians, chakras, polarity, brain energy crossover patterns, the basic grid structure. There's 9 different energy systems that I look at, and I'm able to look at those psychically in people, and then I'm able to use the energy of their guides and their higher self to transmit light language that makes
mhm.
adjustments in their energy field. And this is it's a session where you're receiving Reiki, you're receiving energy medicine, and you're receiving transmissions from your guides in real time to bypass your conscious mind, to give you information that you can receive on a subconscious level. Sometimes when we get a message about something, we might have resistance around what that message is. Like, I don't know how I would do that, or
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense to me, or that scares me, right? So light language is vibrational, and so it comes through the clairs, the information, and everyone has them. So when these messages get transmitted through light language, we understand them in ways that help us move forward with ideas and urges and epiphanies, and we've received guidance in a way that we don't interfere with it. So it's a
Yeah.
combination of energy medicine, Reiki, receiving guidance from your guides, and raising your vibration.
And you guys down here, you can choose the package A, or you can choose the package B with 1 or 2 pay. Just wanted to show you that.
And
Um,
I also have something for free. I don't see it on there, but I
mhm.
can tell you what that is
Yeah,
if you're
we
interested.
can put the link on the site for sure, and,
Yeah.
Of
yeah,
course.
in the chat.
The link is sacredawaken.com/sacred dash gift.
Okay.
And got
Sacred
it?
dash
Oh, it's a
Sacred dash gift.
dash
dash gift.
forward
Hyphen.
slash.
Hmm.
Okay. And then sacred,
Oh, and then sacred.
then
Okay.
dash,
Okay.
like a little hyphen.
Got it.
Gift.
You
There
two
you
make a great team.
We try.
I can only type in this very crooked way.
That
And
is
we'll get it on the site as well.
okay, good. That is a 30-minute theta binaural beats, but it's a light language transmission. And
Nice.
I channeled a group that I call the Children of Light.
Mhm.
And it's a transmission to recalibrate your DNA for exactly what this whole summit is about, for receiving guidance and having new ideas and urges to move forward in ways that you might not have thought of otherwise. And so I just thought this would be perfect. You can experience it over and over again. The more times you listen to it, the more it's going to recalibrate you. And I did give
Wow.
this to a few people ahead of time to, I've been working on it for a couple of weeks. And I just did give it to a few people ahead of time, and they've told me that they really went on a journey with it. So
Nice.
I highly encourage you to go there. You have to put your email address in, and it'll be emailed to you a link. And
Mhm.
you can also download that. You can listen directly from the link, or you can download it and not have to have your phone on to listen or have your Wi-Fi or anything on.
Thank
Fabulous.
you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
that.
It was a
Yeah.
pleasure.
Any other parting words that? it's coming through.
Yeah, there's this massive awakening happening within
Mm.
humanity, and we are all part of it. And I think we're supposed to have this guidance. I'm so grateful for the summit, for all the speakers, and for all of the
Mhm.
people listening, because
Thank you.
you're welcome, every single one of us who tries to recalibrate our frequency and tries to create with coherence makes this world a better place, and
Yeah.
we move forward in a different way. So everybody here has all of these abilities to connect with spirit. You're already connected. It's just a matter of noticing it. So I'm just so grateful that everyone's here and that
Yeah.
you're doing this. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
And
Thank you for
thank you
saying
for
so.
that acknowledgement too,
Thank
because
you for saying so.
I feel like sometimes speakers come on, it used to seem like they were competing with everyone else, right?
Oh,
It's like
this was
who's gonna
so,
win? And it's not like that anymore.
No, and
no.
maybe
Especially
that's
with this group.
maybe it's us choosing people that aren't of that,
Yeah.
caliber, but it's important for us to have the oneness and to support
Mhm.
each other and to know that that when we again, by each person here is igniting their light. You
Mhm.
are all making a difference.
Yeah.
So thank you for choosing yourself and
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you for joining us, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I know that these summits are a lot of work, and it's a public service. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
Thank-
for saying that.
They're work, but they can be a lot of fun too.
They are
They
fun.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. But we love having you on them. So thank you for continuing.
Heidi says,
to
thank
contribute.
you, Michelle, for a beautiful conversation, experience, and wisdom. Liz says, thank you so much, exclamation point. And somebody wants to open your free gift, so we'll make sure we'll get that link
It-
updated.
Link is not right.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it needs a HTTP maybe.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I guess so.
No, it works.
www.sacredawaken.com
Here,
slash sacred
it's
Gift.
hyphen.
fine.
It
Yeah.
It
works.
works. It
Oh, good,
works.
good.
We'll put it back in just so it's got different slashes.
Um, and I think I can't, so Jeneth has it set up to this beautiful blue, but I can't read the blue. It's like this color that no one can see. We used to have a,
No,
we used
the
to have a
heck.
clock that was that way, and neither my husband nor myself could ever read it.
We'll change it to bright orange tomorrow.
Oh, let's see. Beautiful. Thank you, Michelle. And Tracy says, beautiful, so healing. Always, I find pieces of every language. Yes,
Yes.
from your activation. I think that's lovely.
Yes, that's another
And
way to say it. And
yeah,
I noticed the Sanskrit, it wasn't
yeah,
all Sanskrit.
right, right,
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. It gets mixed together based on whatever frequency we need
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
moment.
based on
Yeah.
what we need.
And there really is
So
Sanskrit in it. A man from India at the very first sound bath I ever did told me that I was speaking Hindi and Sanskrit. And
nice.
I didn't
Uh-huh.
learn them. So and I've heard other
It's
people
in
do it
there.
too. It is in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Well,
are storage devices, right? Our
yeah.
I
bodies.
know.
I voice recorded some of mine and I said, so can you translate any of this AI? And it was like, well, these words together mean this in Hawaiian. And it was kind of interesting. So
Mhm.
that was neat.
But remember, it comes through the clairs, right? It's the vibration that you get from it. And then
Yes.
you like
Yes.
have, you have knowings and feelings
Mhm.
and visions, and you hear other things while the light language is coming through. So,
And
Mhm.
here's the other thing that just dropped in. While that may be a translation that the collective has put together, the true translation is what does it mean to you when it's translated? What does it, and do you have to give it a meaning really? And if it
mm-mm.
wants to have a meaning, right? So Michelle's shaking her head
Yeah.
no for those who are listening on audio, but what is it? What is it that is coming through for you? And even if it doesn't have a translation, we know that it is still making changes within our DNA and
Mhm.
rewiring our brains.
That is the purpose
Yeah.
of light language. It's like cymatics
Yeah.
for the body.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
revibrates us.
Uh-huh.
love it.
Got
Well,
Thank you
you.
so
thank you
Thank
so
much.
you so
Thank you.
much.
much,
Thank you.
Michelle.
Have a really wonderful rest of the summit.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. You guys, if you are looking for the package, please go to houthustle.com/live, LIVE. We will also have some of these special gifts that speakers have given to us in a location, and we usually release that the week after. So we'll make sure to make a note. I did make a note about that.
Yeah.
But let me just make one other note about something.
So we put those all together on one page during the replay period. So that way you have them all nicely packaged up together. Mainly because sometimes the speakers have a special gift that they'll tell us during the show. And so we usually put those all out together at the same time so that you can have an easy way to access people's free gifts, especially the ones that they notify us about.
And the live page has so much that we didn't want
Yeah.
to add so much more. Yeah, so
We didn't want it to be too distracting for you.
right. So those gifts do come out next week, and there'll be more of them.
Yeah.
For sure. Wow, I really feel all chill now.
I know.
I feel like she really helped me get over that kombucha.
Oh, good. Oh, poor you. I'm so kidding. I'm so kidding.
Third world problems. First world.
First world,
First-
yes.
Sorry.
So the funny thing about that though is that if we can take these kind of times and everybody's kind of laughing,
Yeah, lighten it up.
laughing
Yeah.
about it, like that for me, that's the best. Like honestly, I'm gonna say it, and I shouldn't make myself have an identity, but I am known as the person that is spiller. I drop things. I have this force field. My husband says that like everything around me. Now everybody blames stuff that other people drop around me. Like that's how bad this has gotten.
Wow.
So if I was, first of all, I wouldn't carry the bag with the glass because I know it's gonna fall. Like I don't take cups to go.
You just expected. See, I got Lianka energy in me.
I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't have said anything.
I caught this disgusting Lianka virus. That's all.
Whatevs. Whatevs. That's all on you, girlfriend. But anyway,
I spilled coffee on
so
my
I fell
dress
asleep.
too today. It all gets Lianka blamed.
I think that's what my friends think nowadays. But look, but I don't have any problem with it. I don't get embarrassed. However, I still have times where I will like people will full on be talking about it, and then next thing you know, there goes a whole thing. I dropped my water yesterday and just heard it. Like, I mean, I will knock coffee over like right in front of people. Like I have these little things that I put in place that I
don't know what space is.
But I'm also, how much of that am I recreating, right? Like, because it's such an identity. But it was something that it was a nickname that one of my friend's parents gave to me because every time I go over their house, their tea was too heavy. So I was always spilling the tea, trying to get myself some tea.
You're just such a little person. The tea kettle was too heavy for your little arms.
Pitcher of water that I would get from their refrigerator, and I think I was like 6 or so, and it would weigh me down. So I was always spilling the tea all over the place. So they called me Spiller, and I guess I kept that.
You kept it in your identity,
and now it's just showing up everywhere.
I would like to rid of that identity.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Wow. Anyway,
that's a cute one though.
But I make myself laugh about it. That's it.
And I think that's what matters. It's like,
I really do though.
Happened and okay.
One time we were at a football game and I kid you not, I just walked by and he was getting ready to eat a burger and his whole meat flew out and hit my shoe. Friends erupted into laughter.
I did kind of have a ketchup thing that my mom was like, no, you're not going to ketchup on the hot tub because I'm just going to wear it.
How funny. You have ketchup everywhere. That's awesome.
I am kind of a sloppy person too, though. When,
like say sloppy.
Computer. Okay. Greasy. I'm a greasy person.
You'll get it everywhere. You kind of track it with you. I gotcha.
Yeah.
No, mine's spilling
over my computer.
That's funny. I do spill stuff though. Like you'll just be like there, and then it's not. Anyway, what can you laugh about, right? Like that's my invitation to everybody. It's like if there's something that goes on with you, like what can you just make light of it, right?
Most things on the days that I'm very light.
Yeah.
The days that I'm not so light, it's not so light.
Yeah. And then that's when it becomes the perpetual, right? Yeah.
Talking about something that's not funny is puppy licky paws.
No, I know.
I wanted to start bringing in little commercials into the summit. So this is one of the the products that I wanted to share today, and I've got others that I'll share later in the week. But I do want to let you guys just know, I love my animals, and if you love yours too, and they've got licky paws, this is a healthy thing that I researched, and Leonka's dog is on it too.
Yeah.
So, as well as the coffee that I love.
Yeah, I love that
But
coffee.
these are true. I
was gonna
really
say.
wanted to bring in true things that, really made a difference in my life that is also healthy for people and animals and the environment in general.
Yeah. So one
So
of the things that well, let's just talk about this for a
yeah,
couple quick
sure.
seconds.
The dog thing or something else.
I'm going to talk about what it means to be Hout Hustle.
Oh, okay.
So Hout and hustle is really redefined, and what we decided that we wanted was Hout means, it's kind of a play on words. It's Hout is trendy and couture and what's luxury and fun. And what
Like
we
high-end lugs.
right. So high-end luxury. But what we realized is that what's today's Hout is products, services, brands, ideas that is really for the betterment of the earth, each other, the community. It's good for our skin.
Yeah,
Our
all in
trend.
oneness of the
Right. And so even
creation.
if you're paying a premium, that, we found that people were really looking for products and that or ideas that were really about the oneness, about New Earth, about how do we that's more sustainable. And so that's what we considered how as redefined. And then hustle redefined is no longer was it like Dolly Parton's work your fingers to the bone, 9 to 5 grind. Today's hustle it's all about it has its own inertia. It's about flow. It's about collaboration and working with speakers like we just had with Michelle. It moves around the earth on its own because it is for the betterment of each other, our communities, and for New Earth. And so that is why when we say hello, howdies, and New Earth hustlers, that's really what we mean is because it's a whole redefined way of looking at two words that may have been very much of a charge in our current collective and really redefining that for tomorrow's future.
Yes.
And that's what we got.
And that's
where the
where the
brands come
products
from.
come in
Yeah.
in alignment. And clearly, I'm not very comfortable in talking about them. But if I don't talk about them, then I'm never going to get comfortable talking about them.
I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah.
And the fact that Jenith is our, resident nutritionist, she's always takes the time to, and she doesn't realize that. I don't think she realized at first how much time she really has taken to research
on my own.
Yeah, and until I started bringing that up, and I said, "Oh, well, I was just inquiring about like, what do you eat? What do you know?" And she'd be like, "Oh, that's not a really good brand for you," or "Oh, that's not like," she would notice that I was doing things because I didn't have that background as a nutritionist,
Yeah.
or for that type of like just upbringing. And she would tell me about these better products that were for myself and like stuff that was better for my skin.
And in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
would taste better,
Yeah.
feel better, made stronger hair.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And I knew she would take the time to really research these things. It wasn't just like reading the label and looking for something organic. She wanted to know what was the products in there,
Yeah.
what is the ingredients. And so because of that, I said, let's please start sharing this stuff with our peeps because we really to the best of our ability research the stuff that we share on this show. And I mean, honestly, um nothing has been like, oh, we're an influencer in any kind. In fact, I don't believe in having followers. I think everybody who is
a
in our world is a
community.
leader, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the community. But so anyway, it comes from a place of love and just sharing the things that work in our world.
Yeah.
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 And that's what we got.
Yeah, I mean, it does have an affiliate link, so we do get kickback, but mostly I'm doing it because I want you guys to have these solutions that it's taken me a lifetime to find, right? Like I have a whole, like a really fast thing that works that's for yeast infections. We're not going to talk about it too much, but it's sort of like, I like sharing these things and I don't want to just share it with my bestie.
Right.
Right. I share all my whispers with my bestie, and now we've opened up a community to share it there. So this is a place that I want you to be all my besties too.
Yeah.
So just call you howdies instead of besties.
Same thing. Same thing.
But time to move on. Let me get the recording all situated here. right. Rihanna,
Take a
you
deep breath.
ready? Woohoo! Rihanna's become slowly one of my favorites.
Of course.
And every time she comes on, I feel this evolution within her. And the very first time that I met her, it was just kind of this, can I, can, can we move faster?
Save
And
it
then
for
it
the
was just like,
recording.
oh my God. Oh, yes, I should save it for the recording. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Okay, guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jenna Flackert,
And I'm Leonka Reina.
and this is the How Hustle Mystic Morning Show. Today, we're talking with Rianya Chen, and we are going to go wherever the energy leads us.
That's right. So you were telling us a little bit about Rihanna and your
Yes.
experience and how much you've really started to just
She-
fall in love with her every time that we've had her on the show. And I mean, it was very obvious to us that she had this really divine inner wisdom when we first
Mhm.
met her. But each time we have her on, we've been able to uncover so much more. And
Yeah,
I'm excited about where we're going today. So
yeah.
talk a little bit about your experience in that too.
Let me go ahead and bring her up so you can get in her energy too. I mean, talk about somebody who has become a leader of this work. When we first met you, I felt that, and maybe it was just my viewpoint of it, but you were just starting to, not starting, maybe you had been on a journey for a while, but you hadn't become it. You hadn't embodied it in the way you embody it today. And I know one of those things was when you hiked Mount Kilimanjaro. I know that that was a big shift, but it seems that after you started making those shifts, you just started opening. I've been watching some of your Instagram reels and I'm like, damn, like every one of them are wow, profound, say it again, girl. And I just wanted to acknowledge you that we notice it. And we speak with these luminaries twice a week, every single week. And it is really a joy to be around you, Rihanna. So thanks for being here with the Whispers of Oneness.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure. I just have this joyous surge of energy when I saw the invitation for this oneness. And the few days before, I was just like, I'm so glad. I'm so excited to
Ah,
to hop on call with you two ladies, because I just also feel you two have been going through your own evolution.
yes.
And yeah, so and there's something very special about this summit and this time as
Mm.
well.
That's what everybody keeps saying. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you.
acknowledging that as
Yeah, we feel it as well.
well. I really
Yeah.
got tapped into this
And
time.
I hope others on this call, the community really is starting to experience that as well. I think we did as speakers as we started to prepare, but I think as every speaker is coming on, that they can really receive from this oneness and this new time. Like it's this time period of humanity is very different. And it was almost, I mean, it was totally divinely guided, this whole series. So speak a little bit about your experience with that.
Yeah, I just so I okay, where do I want to start? So many
Yeah,
threads.
sorry.
No, no worry.
Well,
No, no.
I mean, I wonder if we do start with what was going through your body and your energetic system during that hike. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's when I noticed this huge shift in you.
Yeah, I actually because a few months ago I started to answer the call to organize a pilgrimage to Kailash. That
Mm.
was actually the beginning of, I would say, another level of awakening to be able to ambulate, just circle around Kailash, the highest point. That's about 16,000 feet.
Mhm.
And it was very hard. And I think, and on the day three, I got this inkling, like this voice just drop in, say, okay, next is Kilimanjaro. And
Shh.
so this 1 year's time, I think it was September 24, and then I submitted the Kilimanjaro in July 25. And and what has taken place is that I realized this two, because like sometimes our oversoul, higher self and an oversoul really is asking, like, have our best interest in their energetic, ethereal heart. And so it's like we co-create this demanding discomfort in order for, I would say, me to break through a lot of mental construct. And in this lifetime, and I think that has to do with the oneness we're going to talk about later. In this lifetime, I chose to be born into Taiwan. So strategically, it's like a melting pot in Asia, so to speak, like Chinese culture, Japanese, Korean, Southeast Asian cultures. And on the land itself, it's very pristine with the dragon portals or dragon grid that come through. And that meaning that, Taiwan also is holding this 5,000 years of the distortion or the controlled system. And it's equal. I look into that. It's very similar in the West. It's also around 5,000 years ago, give and take. The system started this suppression of feminine, right? So there was a lot of conditioning and cultural belief and patterns and habits that was distilled into the population over 5,000 years and into the field of the earth. And so coming back to Kailash, I feel it was the beginning of almost like the first crack of my human. Because even though I was hustling in a negative way, actually, I was exhausted
Right.
trying to make it. I don't know where I was going, right? I was trying to make it spiritually, right? Open higher, further,
I
wider,
think
or be
some
more,
people can relate. Yes.
right? Because
Force. Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like there was this misleading belief also is not that's also what we are breaking through right now through
Right.
summits like this. There are a lot of misleaded beliefs in the spiritual community is actually taking our power away and
Yes.
it's depleting our energy towards somewhere outside.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't know I was doing that until very recently. Obviously,
Hmm.
I had a very stubborn mind. And so Kailash actually really broke me through physical challenges. And there was a lot of past lifetime healing as well. But what really took place in Kilimanjaro was that it was because already had a taste of how challenging how demanding physicality is. So actually, uh, through a span of 7 days, it was like a really extreme stretch of body, mind, and soul. And of course, there was so many moments because we hike every day, like 10 to 12 hours. And the last day was about 16 hours or
Wow.
even more. I think we started tracking 10 p.m. and then I come back to the 10 about 1 p.m. So
Hmm.
I think that's a lot of out. Um,
We think
but
so.
yeah, so, but actually through this, because I had a very strong mind. I'm very brainiac. And I think it was the trauma from the childhood, right? I think we talk about that and maybe many people can relate because it was maybe in some culture it was unspoken. But when I was born into Taiwan, it was predominantly like, okay, girls, you are just an property. Like you don't have any
Mm,
value, you don't have any worth. However, you have to work harder to take care of everyone.
yeah.
And ideally you bring money home and then,
Yeah.
you do all the hard work. And so for me, I chose to go into this mind, like intellect. And I feel it was such a patterning, which I believe many of us did, is that we feel safe when we are in our mind and trying to think through everything, even
Yeah.
spiritual, right? A lot of healing, actually, I realized we did a lot of healing through the mind, and
Yeah.
actually that reach only a certain level of the
Right.
result.
Right.
So over Kilimanjaro, the 7 days, because it was so demanding physically, I
Mhm.
think it took my mind out of, yeah, it took me out
Yeah.
of my mind. So I had to be present and trying to stay awake. And I feel when I went through so many difficult moments, feeling like, oh, no, I cannot breathe, I cannot keep going, I cannot walk anymore. I think I think it was almost like I was coming into a different connection within myself and within the land. Because I feel the track over Kilimanjaro actually is a reconnection. Also, like I would say, retrieve certain fragments through different lifetimes. So different fragments come through, and that was on when we were summiting. Actually, I just had a thought like I wanted to awake. I wanted to awake because I feel
Mhm.
my life has been so hard, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going. I was back then I was moving around in Portugal. I don't see my future, even though I have some vision. So I think it was through those sleepless nights, I just feel like I just wanted to awake. I wanted to embody my oversoul, like just and I think something did happen through those
Mhm.
moments of like really extreme cold. It was minus
Wow.
Arctic at the top of the
Yeah.
summit. And I think I was crying myself through the way. I was like, it's so hard. I cannot walk anymore. I
Oh,
was like
wow.
crying. Like it
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
it was frozen. Like
Uh-huh.
I was wearing so many layers and three hats and I feel sometimes for some people, like we really need to be willing to go through a bit more of the comfort zone in
Yes.
Yes.
order,
That's what I was thinking exactly.
right?
Yeah.
To really reassess how am I
Yeah.
living my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the way I thought I was doing spirituality, was that really serving me? And I have to say that I know I because of the cultural, like, um I think culturally there's a superiority. So in Chinese culture over the last to 5,000 actually prioritize intellect. So like the mind, the brain is prioritized. But then I noticed in my own practicing spirituality, I also become superior in a sense that I don't know, it's almost like I became disconnected from my life. All I wanted was going somewhere, and instead of looking within. I mean, I did look within, but I think the way I did was sort of trying to get somewhere, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I
You still were
meditate,
trying to arrive somewhere.
right? So let
Yeah.
me arrive somewhere. So I will do this activation. I'll keep watching this, doing by these courses. And it was really through after Kilimanjaro, and then I developed a really beautiful mentorship with Kathina Haley.
Mm.
Um, so she's not so active. I mean, she is active as not so much in summit these days. So she's like doing her own work. So
Uh-huh.
it was through, really diving deep within myself, and then to be so honest of how I'm operating, right? How I am, for example, that well, at this moment, I think how yeah, the thing of I was always reaching out, even the channeling I've been doing. And I think one thing, just to be transparent,
Mhm.
I was trying to, I realized, all these years I say I'm a healer, which, some people say, yeah, you are a healer by design, the way you do. But I realize I am not a healer. Like if I really do look within and look at my life journey, and also look at how, the people I supported with, what took place and how they feel afterwards.
Mm.
I'm not actually a healer. I feel I'm more like holding a field for them to reconnect and get in
Yes.
Sure.
touch
Yep.
with their
Yes.
own essence. And that is something very vague, because but then part of me think, yeah,
We get
but
it.
What does
I
the chat say?
cannot I cannot market that. I have to be like, channel like this channel or that, like someone else, because I feel there's also like almost like a in spirituality, they also feels like, certain pathway feel more like a celebrity pathway, like how we package ourselves, how we introduce
Sure.
ourselves. So even that, I have to be honest, like, wow, I've been trying to follow someone's formula or maybe
Right.
certain way of achieving and performing
Mm.
instead of really be open to be honest, like, who am I? What am I here to do? And
Yes.
am I willing to like really break everything down? Which that's sort of
Yeah.
what was happening. Like I sort of
Yes.
I felt like a lot of things I was striving, sort of losing energy. And interestingly, what you picked up, like the feeling of more embodied or more grounded,
Mm.
is when I felt, gosh, my world, my life just crumbled. Like, how can I
Mm.
tell people I can support you when my life is like shambled into pieces? And
Mm.
and I realized that is needed, because it's almost like that's why I feel talk about the original soul frequency or original blueprint, however we want to feel that. So for me, whenever I just keep feeling this soul frequency, that we each of us has a very unique, distinct, I almost can hear the sound, but it's a feeling for some people.
Yes.
Like we have such a beautiful,
Signature resonance.
yeah, beautiful,
Yes.
yes, yes. And that signature resonance is a, I would use the word, a combination of our history, right? Maybe for, I don't know, for Lianka, that Liren, like you have different lifetime on different planet, and you also have many lifetime on Earth. So you bring through all your experience and your own soul evolution across multiverse, and you come here to become this unique signature resonance, this specific unique frequency,
Yeah.
and you are here. Actually, you don't need to do anything. Just when you are, oh no, when we are right
Yeah.
attuned
Yeah.
to that pure pristine frequency, we are fulfilling our
Yes.
purpose and expression, and that by divine law, by the reciprocity, that we will be provided for.
Mm.
So it's not
Yes.
how the mind would think, like if you just sit there and then money will fall. No, it's not like that. It's like, it's like an energetic
Yeah.
expression and flow. And so what has been happening, I feel, is that, we all chose to be born into this time, and we were born into this very huge matrix, right? That it's
Mhm.
like a very, I think I saw that once. It's almost like it's a field, and then there's so many, it's almost like prison bars, if you look at, if the
Mhm.
image, or like a lot of overlays. So
Mhm.
all the time we were being inverted. So all the patterns that we were born into, like girls are useless. You have to sacrifice. You have to abandon yourself. You have to look after someone else. You have to trust someone else. You cannot trust yourself. You cannot speak. What you have to say is not important. Like all these patterns
Yeah.
and traumas are part of this distortion or inversion. And these are all what we chose to experience. And what has happened over the last, I would say, 20 years is that, there's also a level of consciousness that is spiritual, like consciousness. So, and also the density of the earth that, certain modalities show up so we can start healing. But that was not the end all, because that was just a
Yes.
process.
Right. Yes. I agree with
Right.
that too.
The level of the healing, the level of the consciousness was not up to where we are now, like
Right.
with all
So,
Yeah.
the energetic upgrade
right.
and
Right.
expansion. And so the healing we thought we need to do, or the way we look at our patterns or traumas or conditionings, now can be shifted so much faster. And the only, I would say, caveat is that we get to be willing to look at, to like really come back to our body. And I
Mhm.
think we heard that a lot. We heard about that. But what truly is coming back into the body is to be willing, like really calling back all the energy and the external approval and the searching, um, and the and really to get clear and to, I would say, like there's a willing to feel. I think it's a very different feeling because the feeling, it's like sometimes when I support people going through inner child healing, that I can feel some people are just very much thinking, like
Yeah.
thinking of, so that's certain, everyone is where we are, so it's okay. But that when the person is so ready and then willing to open the heart, even just for a split second, to feel into what was happening, that shifted a lot, like
Hmm.
multi-dimensionally. And so I
Yeah.
feel it's just like, everything becomes simplified, and it could go much faster if we are willing to start reassessing and re-look, like have a new look at, how everything is divine, like the body is divine,
Yes.
then the way it's designed, um even like there's no random
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
combination.
mean, scientists
Yeah.
still cannot reproduce what we have. I mean, with all of the technology that we have, that they are unable to reproduce body in the way that we have. Like, I mean, there is science that's getting closer, but by no means have they been able to reproduce the absolute sheer just divine technology of our bodies, using the
Yeah.
traditional technology that we have and science that we have right now.
I, yeah. I love how you said that, we're these star seeds, we've come from all these different places. What I notice is your vulnerability to say, okay, I am that. And what would you say would maybe we can do a practice or a transmission or an activation around getting us so that we also get it in our bones to know that we are that star seed.
Y- yeah.
Yeah. Like we truly have
Or the
that
infinite being that we are.
correct. Or that we're
Yeah.
all like, so that because it's almost like how we get to the old hustle is basically we do all the crap of the collective and all the constructs and all the lies and the early bird gets the worm and we run these noises inside of ourselves. And yet if we could just go and instead of heal the noise, we could actually come from a space of this is what I am
Yeah.
and this is how I'm going to operate today.
Or where would you like to
Yeah.
go?
Yeah,
Me.
that's beautiful. Yeah, what feels like important to share, like based on
Mhm.
Jana's question, is that um I feel the important feeling is to connect with that essence of our heart, our essence.
Mm,
And and the entry level of that is heart coherence, right? Like I'm
mhm.
sure many of us have done heart coherence. So that is, I feel like that's sort of like the entry level just to get to that peaceful, close 0 point state. And the actual feeling to feel like whether we are the star seed, I feel it's the ultimate feeling is to feel that one with the all that is, or one with our
Yeah.
environment, or one with our earth, or one within ourselves. So I feel, this part I wanted to bring in, because I always like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I have this tendency like to bring in a lot of threads. And I was like, is it
No, I
too
love
much for
it.
people?
Mhm.
What I actually wanted to, what's coming through is that feeling of oneness. Of course, people talk about enlightened, they feel one with the universe. I feel like there's one state closer is that I want to talk about Lemuria. So I feel
Mhm.
like many people
Yes.
probably could resonate with Lemuria, and then however information we receive, I feel the essence is that it's a very heart-based civilization, and so
Okay,
the f-
I got
the
you.
f- the first, I think I had two times of past life regression myself. Like I went into the state I did before. I didn't know it was Lemuria, but it felt very ethereal and just and I feel many people who has such a passion or connection with the ocean, the water, the whales and dolphins and aquatic being. I remember when I was younger, I always felt like, oh, I wish I could just live under the water. Like,
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think a
do
lot
look,
of us
yeah,
did.
yeah. And I would, I think I could be very confidently say in that we certainly had those lifetime as aquatic beings at different
sure.
Mhm.
different reincarnations, maybe not necessarily on Earth, and it's certainly like in like one with the water element. And
Mhm.
so when I wanted to bring in Lemuria is that feeling of, I feel what is beautiful about Lemuria is that open heart. So, and then when just feel into, like, everybody could just like feel into when you are listening to me or with your eyes closed. It's just like feeling into that feeling of like, your heart is open, almost like the heart is a transmitter, like a receiver, like a communicator. So with our heart, with our body, actually, the whole body becomes a transmitter that you could feel into, the trees in front of you. Like, what is this tree feeling like? Maybe some
Mhm.
people will hear the words, but like, what does it feel like? Does it feel like it's joyous? And the air, the quality, the air element, and also the animals, that our favorite animals, it's almost like it's telepathic communication.
Sure.
And there is also softness with the land, like when our feet, I'm not quite sure, I think they have feet, like because for me they feel so ethereal, so I don't know if they actually touch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
get you.
probably do. So that contact with the soil, on the beach and with the water, is that you could feel almost like the body could feel the temperature, the energy, the emotions of the soil, of the leaves, of maybe the bacteria, and this feeling of one, that you're just open communication with the environment. um and I feel because right now it feels like everything is so solid. It's almost like the body becomes solid and it just disconnect, and then, you know but back then it was that feeling of, we could just almost like our empathic energy, which you could just open and then just feel into the environment and being one with the environment. And that is very reason that, there's no need of lying. You could just be authentic, you just be
Yeah,
present, because I feel not only your heart but your being. And
yeah,
so
Yeah.
I feel that is what we are returning to.
Yeah.
And when the other day when I read about the whisper of oneness, I feel that is one way we are returning to, that
Mhm.
returning to that essence of Lemurian, the energy of the heart, but that open communication. And I know, like,
Mhm.
people probably heard that, many of us are awakening our telepathic
yeah,
abilities,
yeah,
and the telepathic ability happens through the body. So when we
Yes.
are disconnected, through the trauma or through certain whatever reasons, we stay in the mind, then that cannot happen. And
Mhm.
so this feeling of, you know remembering who we
Getting
are,
this.
yeah, is
Yeah.
really through the feeling and through the body.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um, and I wanted to bring in Atlantis just briefly.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, in summary, people would say Atlantis was, well, went into destruction because the mind took over the heart, and then they went into the abuse of the power. However, it's also important to know that the beautiful thing about Atlantis, before, while it was still going well, still developing, was to harmonize the power of the heart and the mind. And I feel that's very much, if you look at a lot of the teaching and the ancient teachings, and also the modality is really about supporting us to come back to the heart and the mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we could, I don't know, let's bring through a channeled activation. We'll see how it goes, where you want
Okay.
to go. Yeah. Is there
Yeah.
any question you want to?
I I feel like there's a ton of questions. One of the, I think we brought up the word comfort zone was one of the things. And then we brought up, no lying, which I feel that in this reality, so many people lie to make other people feel better, to feel good. And I just, that's just out there somewhere. I mean, I don't really have a
Or make
question around
themselves feel
it.
good.
Yeah, right. Or they lie to make themselves like fit into somebody else's possible view of them.
Yeah.
And you can see with like this big primordial sea that we are playing in, that no, there is no real existence for that.
Mm,
That's all I have to say. It's like it's really waking me up around it by you
yeah.
talking about it.
Right, right. So what I would just want to share a little bit about, when you talk about, we lie, and then we could use the umbrella of people pleasing, right? Like, because we say a lot of white lie, to the extent of we lie, just wanted to stay in the status quo, even though we say,
The
it's,
shrieking to make others uh
Shrinking.
shrinking to make others feel comfortable
yeah,
is a biggie to heal. That's
Yeah.
true too. I can see
yeah,
that. I can see that
yeah,
big time.
yeah. So I
Mm.
feel like I mean, actually have been looking through that myself as well, is that, there was this almost impulsive response to please. And
Mm.
then that means to lie, right? To say things that I don't want to say, or like the authentic me doesn't want to say, but because I say, because that's what I was taught to do, so I can feel safe. And
Yeah.
I feel, because if I wanted to feel safe because I was afraid that they might did something to hurt me,
Mm.
whether it's to, I don't know, there could be many scenarios. But what I wanted to say is that if I truly desire to shift this pattern, to heal this pattern, I have to be honest that with myself, is that okay, so do I just say white lie? So I think, just to admit that I
Mm.
lie. This is also to be honest, like, okay,
Uh-huh.
am I a liar?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, I
but
get
because
what.
people say, oh, white lie is not lie, but it's a type of manipulation. And am I the type of person that manipulates people? And when I realized that, I felt very uncomfortable. I said, no, I don't think I intentionally want to manipulate. But manipulation is, in itself, is something that I just need to accept that, okay, so do I desire to continue this pattern of manipulation and lying? Because I think we need to be very honest of the behavior, and what do I truly desire? How do I want to live my life? I think that's what I was talking about, like, to be so honest of looking at my own life. So just because I'm spiritual doesn't mean everything I do is correct. And of course, this is not to judge myself, but also to see, okay, this is
Have
the
awareness.
conditioning, right? This
Uh-huh.
is awareness. And yes, this was a pattern I chose to adapt because in order to survive, in order to feel safe. So, but right now at this day and age, am I capable to make myself safe? I would say majority, I would feel into our audience. I would say 99.9% yes, we are capable of taking care of ourselves to make ourselves safe. And yes, some mind will come up, and that's the thing we're healing right now. The mind will come up, say, yeah, but then if I get deprived of, I don't know, support, love, money, blah blah blah, then I'm not safe. But that is not true, because I think we also have to look into how we have sometimes become codependent.
Well, so let me just kind of put this in real words. You know, people have different political points of view, and I'm not going to make anything specific, but one person wants, you know, this person to be president, one person wants this person to be president, and then below each of those people, there's like hundreds of different viewpoints as to the reason why.
Yeah.
So you know that somebody else has a viewpoint that is opposing yours. Let's just say abortion for one. One is pro-choice, one isn't.
Mm.
Uh, When is it like, do we just have to tap in energetically and say, I'm going to say these words or not say anything because they have opposing viewpoints? That's just kind of one way. How do we be with the creation of oneness when
Yeah,
we are in the face of polarity?
yeah,
That's kind of what, you know,
That's a
and
loaded question.
what I know it is, and I'm not asking for you to answer it necessarily. I mean, maybe I was asking to have support through the transmission. I don't know why this is coming through. I just felt like, you know, to make this pragmatic, let's,
yeah,
you know, use a pragmatic example. So
yeah.
I'll stop and let you respond.
So,
I
uh,
mean, this is just me, you know, following the whispers in my own head around things.
I love that. I love it. This is such an important question because I think many of us are facing this scenario,
Yeah.
not just like all
Yeah.
in different scenario, maybe at workplace. Um, uh, the thing is, like, feel into the energetics, right? If I
Mm,
have the, if I am afraid to be judged, so I would do anything to please you.
mm,
What's my energy? It's very needy. It's
Needy.
very
control.
slimy. It's very like I think people feel that.
Yeah.
So when I speak with you and I already judge you, you are a bad person, you didn't know, and then no matter what I say, how are you gonna feel? Right?
Hmm.
Because I think we have to start honoring, like, with all the information that we are all very sensitive. Even people we think it's undeveloped or unawakened,
Yeah.
they're intuitive, like they are sensitive to the energy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel it's important there's no right answer, like you have to
Right.
say or you don't say, but it's important to feel into ourselves, like, what do I desire to receive from this communication and where
Mm.
am I? Like, am I in judgment of that person? Because I just hate that person. I don't think, whatever. That is already called, like, even before you
Separation.
say it, you're already
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
separation. And you
Yeah.
can be guaranteed it's not gonna go well, whatever you say. And right?
Right. Even if you
Yeah.
don't say anything, to be honest. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, there's just going to
exactly.
be a polarity within
Yeah.
people. And
And
unfortunately, some of that happens within my family. And
mm,
it's just kind of owie sometimes. I
yeah.
like this conversation though. It's kind of, you know, it's expansive in a real way. So thank you.
I feel like there are different levels, right? With everything, with our husband, well, not my husband, like with our partner, with everyone, is that this is really time to start. If we truly desire to remember who we are and be the best version, or like full version, or
Mm-hmm.
the authentic,
Oh,
or let's just say the authentic self, right? The freedom, like just to be me, is that to be honest of how I have been feeling afraid and feeling small, feeling unworthy, or feeling judgmental, feeling superior, right? And just be honest, like, is that really me? Am I a superior person? Am I a snobbish
mm,
person? Like, do I desire to
right.
be, right? Whatever happened until today, we could say, oh, because I wasn't aware, and it was conditioning, it was culture, it was family, it was life
Mm-hmm.
circumstances. But from now on, I feel like the energy is asking us, or our soul is asking us to be honest. Like, who do I choose to be? Who do I desire to be? I don't need to be one that pleases everyone. But for me, I just really so desire to know who I am and be the authentic me. And I don't know who that is, to be very, very honest, even at this moment. I'm
Well,
still
Mm-hmm.
that's probably a
learning.
better thing.
Yeah.
That's probably
Well, that is the way we should be, is just
out of
always,
identity and asking more questions about ourselves instead of saying I am
yeah,
XYZ, right? Instead of declaring that you are clumsy.
unless you are, I am divine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I heard you talk about
You're
the
like
spilling water.
clumsy.
But yeah. But that is, you are a QHST person. You know that is
Just
rewritable.
QHHT yourself on it.
Sorry to calling you. Well, however, but we have the freedom to really get to know who the authentic me is. And I
Yes.
feel, it's about taking responsibility of who we want to be, and know that I am from now on the sole captain and the writer and the director
Hmm.
of my life. And
Sure.
I feel we heard that, but
We're
it's
not
not.
getting it.
It's so much in
We're
the
not getting
head.
it. Yeah.
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 It's um yeah, because it's so
I have
easy.
glimpses of it. It comes in. I know it. I remember it. But then I can be easily whisked away, not as easily as before, but let life happen and I'm like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah," or I gotta do this, this, and this, and this, or
Yeah.
nobody else can do it like me, blah, 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 blah. Right. So then I realize that I'm trying to be in control instead of allowance. And then what happens is that the script is exactly gonna play the way that I because I am the creator, but I don't but I forget
And
that.
I come in to be the
I ain't
control.
worried about you. Just kidding.
And then she's
You
like,
be.
damn it, I just attracted the frequency I already was.
I'm like, she's going to undo all that I just did.
And sometimes that happens.
I'm like, keep your paws out of it.
Yeah.
And my paws are staying away. I've learned my
But you
lesson.
see how that, but like just regular business, right, can do those things where we forget that we truly are in a play in the Maya, and that we are the actors, the directors, the screenwriter, like literally,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. I feel like what I'm learning is that, to have compassion, because it's really hard.
Sure.
It it oh, it's really hard to always be in that 0 point, or that neutrality, or that, in our heart space, because there's so much happening. And I think people, I hear, I hear Elizabeth, I hear Dr. T, both mention, and I'm sure they are not the only one, will confirm that we do live in a system that is designed, with the 5G, with the controlling frequency, and all this patterning is taking us out of the center. And so it is to acknowledge that there is forces, or there is presence that wants to take us into anxiety, fear, what else? Guilt, shame, an enslaved state so that we could keep giving our power away. And so I think coming back, is to be diligent and then to say, okay, take a deep breath. Then if I could just give myself the permission and feel compassionate, like I'm doing my best. And this up until now, I have carried so many ancestral
Hmm.
and my own programs and life circumstances, but just keep reminding
Yes.
that, okay, I'm just going to come back to my heart. And I feel breath work is so important because breath is one of the source, like the medium to reconnect with the source within. So the breath work and different type of just allow ourselves, like give ourselves permission to come back to our heart and then to feel, to soothe the part of our inner self, but also the
Hmm.
brain that,
Hmm.
it's okay. Like the world, like what if, we can change, like what is the feeling I want to receive right now, right? Instead of
Hmm.
hectic packing for, I don't know, packing for work or holiday or like how do I desire this experience to be and how can I
Hmm.
allow my attune my body? So that's coming
Yes.
back to the
Yes.
body and then action and really, everything we hear about, be kind to ourselves. Because coming back to the control, like we, manipulate or people pleasing or wanted
Yeah, it's
to,
like the whole system that's in the matrix in 3D is all control when
yeah,
we want to put it down that way. And there's just
absolutely.
some of us that just do it better than others.
Yeah.
You made me laugh.
Yeah.
This is one I've been looking at since like last October in
Ah,
myself. So
yeah.
that's why it's just so loud.
What
Yeah.
do you feel is one aspect in you that suffered the most, like the strongest control that you feel?
Self-control, like me, not allowing myself to not judge myself mostly. I'll eat something for dinner and then the next morning I'm like judging it. And it's just like that's just nonstop. And then I'll stop for a moment in time after I do a ton of work. And then it's like it just comes back in some way. So there's self-judgment going on, probably the loudest. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of somatic work around it, and some of it's cleared when I go out to control others. Some of that's letting go. I think even
Mm.
Leonka could say some of it's letting
Oh
go.
yeah. Oh yeah. I
Um,
don't know if we could work together if you were like the
yeah,
same person that we were
God.
back
Because I
then.
was just like, it's like my way or the highway. Nobody can do it better than me. But
Yeah.
when it really
At the
began,
height, yeah.
yeah, at the height. And then
Yeah.
now it's coming through and there's some, creative allowance between the two of us, but it's still I notice it and before it's like I didn't even notice it. I was just doing it. And then now I see it and I'm like, God bless. What's it gonna
Yeah.
take to end this? So I'm getting closer. You can
Yeah.
see how I manipulate conversations. And sometimes the audience appreciates that.
True, true, true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I do think that this judgment is so important. Judgment of others, judgment of self, and I feel a lot of us judge ourselves so very harshly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it is one of the biggest control mechanism that we have learned, because when we judge, we separate. When we
Yes.
judge, it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like there's one of us that is very mean. That is someone whoever we picked up, and maybe it's definitely not our innate self,
No,
but it's the
clearly.
younger version of self
Mhm.
that learned to adapt I think it adopt from, very often it feels like a mother or like a teacher or like an aunt that is very mean, that's very
Mhm.
demanding. And so who do you feel is being judged when you judge
I
yourself?
guess it's my 3D person. It's like there's three of me. There's the big self me, and then there's the me that does reality well, and then there's the me that likes to judge the 3D me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
never
just,
quite said that out loud, but now that you're asking,
yeah. What
mm,
about there's really a version of you that's very deflated?
do you think that the one that's deflated is the one that does the judging?
No, that's the one that has been suppressed and bullied.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah. I don't ever feel that I was bullied by anyone except for myself. I mean,
Or
like the bullying
was
myself.
it a mom?
Yeah.
Was it,
Yeah.
because she named up to a couple of things like a
Yeah,
mom or a
mom and
mother
ex. Yeah.
or anything like that? Or like, was it like, I don't know, family, or maybe was it
I
like,
feel like more it was my mom's modeling she's Italian.
or like,
Yeah.
Mm.
the need to look and dress and do all those things for like, religion? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. My parents growing up, see, my father was a minister, and growing up, I had to look a certain way. It was quite sort of like he might as well have been the president, and he was showing off his family. So I had to look and show up on Sundays a certain way, and keep
I
my
didn't know
my
about this
mouth
for like a
shut,
long time.
keep my mouth shut because I, had to put on a perfect persona. It
Yeah.
might, yeah. I mean, I remember, Jimmy Carter having a 13-year-old daughter when he was elected way back in the day. And I was a little younger than that, but I remember that little girl. I felt so bad for her because, they brought her up on stage and, they trotted her around like the perfect family,
Mm.
and it was just like, I mean,
Maybe
I
she enjoyed it.
rebelled. I mean, I have tattoos all over myself to rebel against, being this, perfect, clean cut daughter. It's, I mean, in a way, geez, I mean, how far
Yeah.
down the rabbit hole do we want to go on that one?
I know, I know.
Funny because that is not,
Entering the portal.
it's funny to me because that's the one that you never bring up. But to me,
No,
that would
that
be
would be,
a huge control
I
piece.
see that, I
Right.
see it now that it came this way.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, I don't know if yes, it is. I don't know why I didn't, but I haven't really proclaimed it and put a stake in the ground
Interesting.
with
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
I just was kind of like, well, that sucked. It
Yeah.
very,
Yeah, I get
yeah.
that too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I do feel you're very close to healing that now because I feel many people can
Yeah.
relate to that, right?
Hmm.
Like I can relate to that. Like have to
Hmm.
be dressed like no dust in the clothes and you have to just be quiet, pleasant and like we were controlled
I think
into a
that's why,
way.
is because she,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
reminded
Maybe
me of
Yeah.
that's
that.
why it needed to come through you
Yeah.
for me to receive it and let
Yeah.
it go.
Yeah.
Whereas I
And I
had a completely opposite
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
right. I feel like that that definitely, I mean, of course, we could do some energetic work, but the most rewarding thing is really to reconnect with that part of your, the young Jenneth, right? Like you
Hmm.
rebel
Right.
with tattoo. I think some people rebel with eating, putting on
Yep.
weight, right?
Uh-huh.
And or do
Or
all kinds of
drugs, or
things,
yeah,
or
addiction.
drugs, or just become very, I don't
You were
know,
black.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the opposite
Yeah, yeah,
extreme.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's all just part of the journey for us to see, okay, so that is the one being controlled is not us. The one that rebel is not really us either, because it's just
No.
a like a
Yes.
responsive energy.
It's kind of a fuck you very much.
Exactly. So now
Yeah.
we are finding like be curious, like who is this me? Like who is really authentic me when she's not being controlled and not judged and she doesn't need to pose for anyone. She doesn't need to care for anyone. Not to care, not to like fuck you, but like
No, yeah,
not to
Yeah,
right.
right.
care,
Be
but
the
like
caretaker.
I just
Yeah.
be me, that I can breathe. If no one is watching, like, who can I, if
Hmm.
I would just always love for who I am, then who could that be? And I feel
Hmm.
that's the
Wow.
version, in many aspects we are looking to come
To
home to
be, yeah, that because that would
be.
be home, that
Yeah.
love frequency of what we actually are.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
you
Because,
will
and if
still,
you just show up that way every single moment of every
yeah,
single day,
yeah.
yeah,
It's like
goodness.
you will
Mm.
still be this beautifully competent, creative, very funny, but also very inspiring, powerful woman, but you are
Mm.
relaxed.
Yeah.
And it's like when we are relaxed, I feel like we can hear so much more. It's like when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about Lemuria, like we can feel the ocean,
Yeah.
we can feel the air, we can feel the person in front of us,
Yeah.
right? And we will know, like that's also the state when we are so present in our body. That is when I'm free to be me. Then I will know what to say and what not to say, and
Mm-hmm.
what to say in what way, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the need to attack. I don't have the need to convince. I don't have the need to convert you. I just
Mm-hmm.
express freely
Yes.
from my heart, and because this is what I believe in. And of course, however and I feel like the other
Mm-hmm.
person, when they receive that, there's no edges, no rigidity, no
Yes.
fighting in the energy.
It depends on
So
the person.
yeah, it depends on the person, because
I
sometimes,
mean, I'm
yeah,
just thinking of somebody who would really judge me for, even having some conversation like this and repeating it. Not that I would, but
yeah.
I'm just, some of it, and thank goodness for this work because it's allowed me to be vulnerable to even look at these things.
Mm.
Because before I just wanted to be right.
It's conditioned, right? It's
Yeah.
conditioned. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to prove that I know.
Yes.
So I
Right.
read and I have to quote you what I know, but
Right.
uh, I mean, I love to learn, but I feel love learning versus needing to prove there's a different state, right? And then
Sure.
that's, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you
this
for
is,
that. Yeah.
mm,
But I
my
feel like, yeah.
do
That
I,
which makes me want to go, let's talk about how to work
yeah.
with you.
Okay. Okay.
I might
Yeah.
be
So
one.
yeah, I think so for this special occasion, I'm very happy to offer the two versions of working one-on-one, because I love working
Hmm.
one-on-one, because I mean, I think if we're going to work together again, I'm going to offer a group, like more live event, like webinar
Uh-huh.
Sure.
or live
Yeah,
program.
because you're
But
growing.
but right now I'm still very into one-on-one, because I
Yeah.
feel we can get much more, not intimate, like open, and then to share what is really going on. And so I realize it's actually just, it's very, when I'm fully present, it's just easy for me to receive, to actually hear, see, sense, receive any information, or the activation that is needed. And it could be galactic, working with the grand central sun, but it could be also working with the inner child. And it could be also,
Hmm.
it's a wide
Wow.
range. And I no longer, yeah, I've always find it hard to define what I do. So, but basically it's that I'm opening a field for you to recalibrate, I mean, to recalibrate, harmonize
Yeah.
the frequency. And very much that I'm carrying this heart energy and also the 0 point. So it's easier. I feel very often people come in the session will say, "Oh, I never remember this part of the, childhood or special
Yeah.
memory," or they will be able to tap into a specific healing much deeper than they used to. And what I lately, very often realize is that I help people reconnect or awaken their dragon part of self, like whether
Hmm.
it's a dragon energy within themselves or their dragon companion. So
Yeah.
somehow that
Yeah.
happens very, it's, yeah, it's just,
She's probably one of the dragons that I you see how I have
Yeah.
this natural inclination to certain dragons.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, I just find it fascinating and I'm very grateful for that because I
Mhm.
feel dragon, the higher frequency of the dragon energy, whether we would see as a companion, because some of us have a few, and some of them, like when we activate that frequency, it's primordial source energy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's very powerful and it's, for protection, for empowerment, for transmuting things. So usually I will activate people to start working with dragons or working with fairies, or it depends what is needed. So within 30 minutes, we could actually go pretty deep very quickly.
Mhm.
But 75 minutes is just beautiful. It's like we could have a chat and then we could dive in. Like sometimes an activation or healing that went through could heal multiple topic the person is like struggling with. So it's
Wow.
not so black and white anymore. Like, okay, I'm just gonna work on this issue, but it could be multiple
I
because
gotcha.
Yeah.
I would just tune into the energy and just sort of like channel, working with the guide, like the person's
Yeah.
guide and the team, just to bring through what is needed.
Mhm.
And I feel, and yeah, I'm maybe ahead of myself, but what we haven't talked about is that the energy right now is so powerful that
Yes.
really if we are willing, if we are ready, because sometimes we are afraid to
Yes.
be too powerful, but is that
Yeah.
if we are ready,
Yeah.
we can shift patterns very quickly, and it's
Mhm.
almost like, ah, I can breathe again. Oh, I know what it feels like to be me. I can, it's like tuning fork. I feel like the work
Yeah.
I do serve as a tuning fork for them to
Yes.
tuning to their own essence.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
explain it really well. You're like, it's hard for me to explain my work, and then I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you really do exactly that. And it's beautifully said too, helping
mm,
people return to their soul self. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we are here to do. That's what my desire. I just want to be
Yes.
myself.
Yes. You can feel
Be
that
the
on you. Yes.
I want that
rawness.
too.
Just
Believe
want to have.
me, the amount of times that I say being in one day, what am I being? Who am I being? It's just, I mean, I want that so much even more. And I've gotten so much,
But she
right?
wants that for other
But I want
people
it
too.
for, yeah, I
Yeah.
want it for the
Me
world
too.
because I really feel that if we're all operating from this state of ourselves, which is a state of bliss and a state of love and a state of loving my life, loving all of it, I just feel like it's just, I mean, I feel like that's my purpose too. And I also know I'm a dragon, so I wonder if there's something aligned there.
Of course there is. Of course.
I hear the whispers.
Yep. Of
Yes,
course.
we're calling in a lot of
Yeah,
dragons.
I love
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
activating the dragons. And I
yeah.
love what you are saying that actually, resonate with what I would love to share is that when we connect with our like the true essence, right? That unique signature resonance or that so frequency, it, the feeling is that we feel relaxed. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean life doesn't happen. It means that okay, I am able to better deal with it. And it's that sense of freedom. It's that sense of freedom.
Yeah, to just be.
Yeah. And then the important thing I'm learning is also learning to trust because I did not trust. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust life. I mean, I say I trust
Mhm.
universe, but I don't really because I need to control. So
We have
conditionally.
that in common too.
And the more I learn to let go, the more I'm learning to
Mhm.
like what it feels like to trust. And it's not even trust in my head, but like it's the body opening and relaxing and then opening and engaging, participating in life. And there
Yeah.
in through
Ah,
that, there's so much joy. There's just so much joy. You just feel, oh, life
That's
actually
it.
is good.
That's the word.
yeah,
Yeah. Even though, it's still situation, difficulty, but in between, just feel life is really good and joyful and
Yeah.
magical. And
yeah,
I trust. I
It
just
gets
keep
to be for
opening.
sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
right? Like
It's
having
interesting. I'm going to say one other thing and then we'll kind of wrap up. But it's interesting that you say, control in the way that you just did, because what I noticed was when I work with my physical therapist on my hip back thing, she all we do is have me let go of old patterns that I'm like walking a certain way from an old pattern, or I was walking a certain way around pain, or it's all pattern, repattering. And as you were saying that, I was thinking, well, there we go. There's another pattern that's been dropped in through this reality. And, and that's even on a physical level.
Mm.
And it's me controlling the way that I had to walk so that I wasn't in pain for a long time. Now that I'm in less pain, still am walking that way, right? So she's doing repattern. This is what you do is repattern from the universal blueprint, no matter what is required for you to repattern, or maybe even repattern isn't the word, is that contracted a little bit, but to reharmonize
I think it's
the
also tough
frequency.
too,
Yeah,
because we don't always have the right words for everything.
right.
Because I
Yeah.
think once we define something, it becomes really contracted.
Yeah.
So I was noticing that on this series as well. It's like, how do we have this
Words.
you know,
Yeah.
congruence of words when there's not sometimes words to truly define what we are experiencing. So I think that giving each other grace about how we use words, even that in and of itself is a way that we can step out of judgment and step out of separation, especially in this community. So I just wanted to say that on the
Yeah.
air.
Yeah.
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 And by the way, Shara asked how my leg was today after Dr. T yesterday, I'm guessing, and it is actually different today. But I'm also letting go in other things and always. So
Yeah.
maybe by the end of the week I'll be free.
Hey, and did y'all hear that she said, and my back hip thing? So,
Back hip thing.
well, she said the word my. So then just
I
remember,
claimed it.
yeah, yeah.
I just
remember,
recalled in the reference points of it all.
yeah, she's owning
Yay,
that mug.
me.
But just learning to look at our languaging.
Language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who does it belong to? Back. And returned it back to the primordial field so it'll be healed.
that's right.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh
Yes,
boy.
language is powerful. Language is creation. So
Yes.
yeah, I love what you
Well,
said.
Rihanna, it's been a
It's
treasure to be
yes.
with you today. I'm not sure if we are run to time, but it is quite the honor. And do you have any parting words for us?
I just want to pick up on what Janice says, like, what we are actually doing right now is like, that sculpture from Michelangelo. He got a
Mhm.
piece of a big
Oh,
marble,
right.
and
And
we
he
just
just,
strip away all the patterns and conditionings, and we will. The inside is our true essence. Well, it doesn't have to be
uh-huh.
David, but it's you.
Sure.
It's Janice inside that marble.
Yeah.
Is Leyanka, is me, and we will not need new pattern because the authentic, the real
Mhm.
version of ourselves knows how to live this life
Yes.
organically, in
Yes.
flow, co-create with
Yes.
life. And so, yeah, I think that's what we are doing, letting
Yeah.
go so
Yeah.
beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you. My goodness.
Yeah, it's
What a
such an
great
amazing time.
conversation.
I really thank you so much. I love talking with you too.
No,
Thank
we
you.
do too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Joy. Thank you. Again, you guys, if you are looking for any of our special offers from any of our amazing speakers today or yesterday, you can find them all at houthustle.com/live. That's houthustle.com/live.
And that's how you join our community too. So you
Yes,
should
there's a
see a
big,
button for the community, and that is where you go in to put any of the whispers that you've been receiving. Want to know how you are feeling today? If you were joining us for yesterday too, from Dr. T's call, did you work on anything that you had a pain that you wrote in about? So let us know how that is working as well. I know for me, I was kind of
yes,
holding the space for my belly, and I feel tremendously better today.
fabulous.
So I just am curious as how other people feel. Also,
Share about the breath work.
yes,
Something you insights
anything.
from Elizabeth
Yeah,
yesterday or
and
Jules
today.
this morning and Michelle and yes. Um, we're
There's so
just going to
many
keep going, and it's going to get better and better and better this week. I'm telling you, we've got it's a lot.
amazing lineup. Yes, and you
Yes.
can find the full lineup on two places, either in school on our
Right.
community site. It's at How Hustle, and then also the live page. So that's www.howhustle.com/live.
Yep.
And if
Let
you're
me just
not on our newsletter, please get signed up because we want to make sure that you're getting all of the messages. We also do a Tuesday, Thursday talk show where
hear this.
we'll have other speakers that we're featuring here on this summit, plus past speakers that we featured on past summits. And you can hear all of our summits
Yes.
by becoming a VIP member, which means that you get access to all of the summits from before and any of the summits that are coming up. So you definitely want to check out that. You can see how you can become a VIP on our live page on that dashboard. And on Friday, mark your calendars because we're going to talk about how to become part of our inner circle. It's called the Mystique Societe, presented by How Hustle, and it is well within how we activate our clairs and how we work with this information that we are receiving from all of the different speakers and taking that and actually working in our lives and using it pragmatically and improving our lives, having miraculous types of responses and results that are coming out of that community. And we're so blessed to be a part of it and to be hosting it for you. But you are always the ones that are creating this full community we call How Hustle.
Mhm. Just so you know, Lianka, she does Akashic record readings. She also is a QHHT practitioner. And, sometimes you see the hosts of these shows and you don't realize the work that they've done to become,
Yeah.
and sometimes they
expert.
haven't done any work. But we really truly are experts here running an expert series, and we just want to, in that Friday call, please come because you get to meet my dragons that I channel. I had a little more with Theo last night.
Nice.
Itty bitty, he's not very talkative. And we'll talk about all of it, the awakening of channels, how we've released some of the veils, and answer any of your questions. So we do hope you come and join us for
And
that.
tomorrow's going to be a great show.
Yeah, tomorrow we start with a medium, an incredible evidential medium. Her name is Nicole Pope. And then we will talk with Aurora Lunastar, who I have texted I don't know how many times to make sure she's planning a huge planetary transmission. I've lost my actual English words. I'm sorry about that.
And then we wrap up the day with Almajam, and it's going to be an amazing, just mystical day for you.
It
So
should be because
yeah.
she speaks totally through a psychic veil.
Yeah.
So you should be leaving and floating out after tomorrow's conversation. And then we continue with the juiciness on Thursday. We've got Carolyn, what is her last name? Carolyn Reyes? Reyes.
That's my grandma's maiden name.
Okay.
Reyes.
Reyes.
She was featured on Goop for her multidimensional teachings and for the information that she shares. She's phenomenal. I think you're going to find a whole huge, interesting way of being and operating on this earth. She talks about in her book, she breaks out various different things about how, there are people here that are star seeds and activators and architects, and we get to really pick her brain about how she views the earth and our human experience in a very different way that I've even heard before. And then we've got Miriam Katz, who Jeneth has had a personal one-on-one session with, a journey, and she is a shamanic leader and total master in her work.
Yes.
I think you'll really enjoy her
These are all
conversations.
masters.
Oh, they really are. And then Karen Tobias, and you've heard her from maybe before on our previous summits. If you haven't, she is quite the treat because she has had near-death experiences and has now come in to share how she views the difference between the reality that we live in and the reality that she's experienced, and how we can really make that bridge to have our reality really ascend to what we are most meant to be doing here on Earth. And so it's just quite phenomenal. Then we wrap up the day, the whole week with Susan Penno, who is actually she is a psychic. She is one of the world's best leading, and she's worked with, I mean, countless different high profile names, has done their psychic readings, and then is also a remote viewer. You've got Kenji Kamara, who works with the different right, the different sacred geometry and the geometric field, in which how we can pull things through the field and have them become our actual reality. It's whether that's working with the multidimensional beings or working with multidimensional timelines. And it's quite fascinating. Kenji Kamara has been a trailblazer and one that Jenith has had on her show for many years. I mean, years. He has got so much beautiful work.
He can literally set people unconscious.
Yeah.
Through his work. It's quite profound, called quantum light weaving.
Yes. And then we wrap up the whole week with Jenith and Lianka, where we talk about where you meet her different dragons and the channeling that she's really pulling through, and then the channeling that I've experienced through QHHT, and talk about the Galactic Federation, the ships that I've been on, and how we and Nostradamus. I've actually channeled and worked with a big project channeling Nostradamus and some of his visions for humanity and going forward for the future. So we've got a great lineup still, and you can catch all of our replays if you just make sure you join our list at houthustle.com/experience.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And are we done with all our announcements here?
I think we're done with all of our announcements. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us on YouTube as well. And for everybody that made a comment here on Zoom, please go and make a comment on YouTube. It really helps the community too. And the community, but it really helps the algorithm let other people know about the show, so we can continue to change the world. That's how it's done, I think. Yeah. With that, we're How Hustle, reminding you to take a little time to enjoy the woo.
Bye, everyone. So cute when they wave back.
Have a good one, y'all.
Did I just shut down my whole system? What the heck? What are we doing?